All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of not the Couch Warrior podcast, but the panel, the pay-per-view panel that we do every time we've got a UFC pay-per-view. Me and my co-host, Tyler, 138 MMA, down there with the mohawk and the gym behind him, my guy. Today, we are joined by two very dope guests. We've got Dravi and we've got the MMA prediction guru with us. So I'll pass the mic around real quick to the boys, let them talk about how they're feeling about the card, and then we're going to jump right into it. We'll catch up with the chat, and then we'll start breaking down some fights. So, prediction guru, I'm just going to call you Guru. Thanks for coming on, brother. First time doing a show with you. How you feeling about the card?
Yeah, dude. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited, and we got to match the same energy as the crowd, right? I don't know if you guys saw the press conference, but shit, they were going crazy. So we got to, keep the energy up. I think it's a good card overall. The main event is a fight that I think everyone on the panel and everyone in the MMA world has been looking forward to. So can't ask for much more, pay-per-view, breaking it down with you guys. So let's get it,
Hell yeah. Dravi, thank you for coming on. My first time doing the show with you as well. How you feeling about the card?
Yeah, I appreciate you, bro, for having me. I'm excited, dude. Like, I think this card is a bit underrated because we're looking at 298, 299, and 300, but this card is okay, a banger. Like, I think we're gonna have some fun fights and a lot of finishes. But dude, for the main event, I'm so excited. And yeah, Hernandez, Kopylov. Yeah, man, I can't wait to talk about these fights and a lot of money to be made.
Yeah, the main event is something, man. I feel like this main event could have been on UFC 300 easy. But Tyler, my guy, how you feeling about the card, bro?
I'm stoked. First off, I'm stoked for the card, but I'm almost more stoked just to chat with you fellas about it. I've been looking forward to this since the last one. We had such a good time for 297. This is going to be a good time. The chat's fantastic already. Look at all these lovely, I was going to say smiling faces, but honestly, I can't really see most of their faces. Look at all these lovely people in the chat down there just doing it. They're so great. So I'm looking forward to this. Looking forward to the card. It's going to be a great time.
Hell yeah. Let's catch up with the chat real quick. We got our guy Daz, 4 Horsemen of the Bookies Apocalypse. You got it, my brother. Lou, at one point, do all the people dead ass, dude. We got too many. We got to set something up. Tower, you've been talking about having all the cappers fight.
We can do it. I can get it sanctioned. We can do this. Dead ass serious.
$50 fighter's license.
Yeah. I'll be more down if it was before I saw fucking Guru next to Drake. I see that fool is huge, so I don't know. But
you might have to change your name then.
He's a big man.
Pink Floyd, sharp guest. Thanks for tuning in, brother. We got Daz again and again and again. My guy Daz. Kiwi, thanks for tuning in as always. Who else do we got here? Pink Floyd again. Beat the Line broadcast. That's Dravi's pod, right?
Yeah.
Make sure to check them out. Make sure to subscribe there. They got a bunch of sharp dudes. What's his name? I was tight with one of your boys.
Pegasus.
Not Pegasus. Well, Pegasus I know from real life.
Oh, yeah. You told me that. And yeah, you're talking about Key 3 picks, right?
Yes, Key 3. Back when I first started my pod, I had like a fantasy show I did for like DraftKings and Prize Picks. And he was the first and only guest I ever had on for that show before I ended up cutting it out. 138 looking like the ouch meme chat. Okay, I don't know what that really means. Lou, I just hope no one gets hurt. Everyone has fun. Yo, Lou needs to be freed. Free Lou. This is BS. He's banned on Twitter for absolutely no reason. Free Lou.
I've sent them a letter. We'll see what they priority mail, certified. We'll see.
I'll write something legal up. I'll get something going for Lou.
There you go.
All my client did was say that he's going to hit his friend with a tire iron, Your Honor.
This is a free country, is it not?
But all right, boys, we've got a ton of fights to talk about. Let's hop right into it. First fight up on the night, we've got Andrea Lee versus Miranda Maverick. Lee, she's going to be 13-8-0, 35 years old. She's 5'6" with a 70-inch reach. Maverick, 12-5-0. She's going to be 9 years younger, 3 inches shorter, and she's going to have a 4-inch reach disadvantage. Guru, why don't you start us off here?
Yeah, man, I think this is a fight where, for me, it's tough to trust Andrea Lee, just the position in her career. But when you're looking at the line, I think it's a dog or pass here. I mean, Miranda Maverick, she's kind of, I wouldn't say disappointed in UFC because she has a good record and gotten wins and finishes, but she hasn't necessarily, I don't think, risen as fast as people thought. And she has that kind of game where, moves around and then tries to time the takedown. I think her striking is getting better, but Andrea Lee, I feel like, is going to have the better striking, higher volume. The only issue I have with Andrea Lee, it's like she loses to a lot of grapplers that she fights. Like, she lost to Roxanne twice and has some other losses. So I could see, Miranda Maverick submitting her maybe or holding her down. But ultimately, I think it's probably going to be a pretty close fight. So I would give it a dog or pass. But, yeah, probably not going to be bad in it personally.
Yeah, makes sense to me. How about you, Tyler?
So this one's interesting because my confidence in this fight went kind of like that, and it keeps doing this. I was big on Maverick early on, right? I thought clear path to victory. Opponent's coming off of a 3-fight skid. Losing becomes a habit. My coach used to always tell me that. He'd be like, he would say, losing is a habit. If you can get these guys in there and they're losing a couple of times, next thing you know, they're just giving up at the first sign of adversity. I don't think that's quite hit Andrea Lee yet, but we have seen her get frustrated when she gets taken down. And I think that's kind of in the same realm. So that's why I'm leaning more on the Maverick side. I think she's going to get it down at some point, but it's an Andrea Lee from 3 fights ago, I think, is a different story. I think now she isn't quite where she needs to be mentally in this fight. For any fight right now, if they get her to the mat, she gets frustrated. She doesn't want to be there. It's been her downfall in most of her fights. So I think Maverick's gonna be able to do it. I did actually buy in on Maverick at the dip when the money line dropped quite a bit. I bought in. Was it yesterday or the day before? Can't remember. My days run together. But I'm on Maverick now, and I wasn't that confident just like a day ago. So
what's the line you took?
Was it 165 or 170, something like that?
Somewhere
in there. It's on Patreon, so anybody that's on my Patreon can see it. So
nice.
Probably, I think 165 or 170, one of those.
Gotcha. All right. How about you, Dravi?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think it's dog or pass. And we're all betting with the line, So I think Lee's the side. If we look at the number, it's like, yeah, she's on a 3-5 losing streak. But if you look a little bit closer, like Araujo, Barber, Silva, I mean, these girls are all beating Maverick, if you ask me, if they fight tomorrow. But yeah, they both got robbed by Barber. That's kind of funny if you look at it. I don't think Lee looked good last time against Silva, but I do rate Silva extremely highly. But then you can say she wins to Barber and she almost finished Araujo in the first round, and then she loses the fight. But yeah, to me, Lee's Curry is the better striker. She's gonna lend more volume. She's tough. I think we can all agree that this fight's probably gonna go the distance, right? And then it's probably gonna be close. So do you want to have the girl that's the better striker is gonna lend more and probably do a little bit more at big plus money like that? I think it's the side. And also, like, yeah, Maverick can take her down. I agree with that, but I do like Lee get up game. I think she has a slick get up game. So I'm not too confident that Maverick's gonna hold her down for a long period of time. And I don't give her much finishing upside. So I don't really see how she cover minus 200 or minus 185, whatever it is. On the other hand, I can also see Lee landing takedowns. And I don't think people talk about this enough this week, but Lee can get takedowns. Like she took Barber down, and she has some wrestling herself. And we know that Maverick takedown defense is not very good. She's strong, don't get me wrong. And yeah, but Lee's the clearly better striker, and I think she can hang on the ground with her. So yeah, I think she's a side at plus money. But it's going to be a close decision because if you look at their record in decision, Lee's 5-7, and she has 4 losses by split decision, right? And Maverick to the decision is 4-5, So yeah, I think we're going to have a close decision. Do you rather be on the plus 170, plus 160 side? I do think it is, yeah. So I think Lee's a good dog here. Even with the age and or recent losses, if you look a little bit closer, I think you can make a good argument for her.
Yeah. So for me, the way I function is when I see the dog money on a name that I think probably has value, like that's the first thing I want to see. I want to go in there and I want to find the angle. I want to figure out if the dog's got value. And I do think Lee has value, but at the same time, I have concerns with the grappling. Like, she does have pretty good takedown defense, and she's got pretty. I'd say her get-ups are better than her takedown defenses. Because my concern is she kind of just falls right over. I feel like when people are shooting on her, she kind of just falls over. And while I did say her get-ups are good, I'm looking at the Araujo fight, and Araujo is, she's a very high-level grappler, and she's a lot stronger, I think, than Maverick. But she was like completely falling off of Lee's back when she had her back. And Lee couldn't get her off. She couldn't shake her off, and she was able to recover position and stay on top. And I just can't help but think, if Maverick's getting the takedowns, she does have good jiu-jitsu as well. I do feel like she's going to be able to control Lee and rack up minutes. And the only major advantage I give Lee is the striking. I do think she's a better striker. I think she's more crisp. I think she's got more tools on the feet. I think Maverick, she is improving rapidly. She is super young still, like 26. And I will say her striking's gotten a lot better. I don't think it's on the level of Lee. I do think Lee will beat her up if it's, 15-minute striking match, but I don't think it will be. Maverick knows what she's got to do. She implements her game plans well. Her takedown defense might not look great if you're looking at the stats, 42%. But then you look who it is. Jasmine, who's gigantic. You got Erin Blanchfield, who's one fight away from fighting for the championship. And and Macy Barber. So, Barber's also pretty good, and arguably Maverick won that fight. So for me, the pick's going to be Maverick. Couldn't get to the dog, even though I do think there's some value there. I don't want to bet just based off of value and end up holding an empty ticket. So it's going to be Maverick for me as well.
Anybody see the possibility of Maverick getting that armbar that she's got, like 4 or 5 times at least in her career? Maybe more.
Has Lee been subbed?
No, but first for everything. If you're stuck on the mat for long enough.
Yeah, she got sub on regional, I think, Khalid.
Oh, did you?
Back in the day.
She got sub one time in her pro career. That was back in the day, 2016.
Was it via armbar?
No.
Nice try, Tower.
We're naked choke, but she did get sub in amateur in 2014 by Kathleen Chukagian by armbar. 2014.
Done deal. At the line, bet the armbar.
I mean, Maverick took like almost 15 minutes to submit Cachoeira on the ground. So
it's true.
Yeah.
Talking to Sean real quick, Maverick striking is horrible to me. I thought that too pre-tape, and that's why I was like so excited to go and check out Andrea Lee, but I actually think her striking got a lot better. But we can move on. Next up, we've got the GOAT making his return, Val Woodburn versus Oban Elliott. Woodburn, he's going to be 7-1-0, 30 years old. He's 5'8", and I believe he's got a 74-inch reach. Elliott on the other side, he's going to be 9-2-0, 4 years younger at 26, and 4 inches taller, and he's going to have a 2-inch reach disadvantage. Tyler, why don't you start us off with this one?
Well, folks, this is my least confident pick on the card, and let me tell you why. This is backed up by reason. First off, Oban Elliott. I picked against him going into the Contender Series. He wins that fight just because he's so durable and got a ton of dog in him, right? He doesn't win that fight because he outskills the other guy. He wins the fight because he's impossible to put away. And there you go, because that's basically what happened, right? You can beat on a guy for so long before you start to slow down, and then they can take over. And I think it was, a majority decision? I don't think it was a full decision. So squeaks by, right? And then you got Val Woodburn, who beats a bunch of people on the regional scene that aren't that good, like really, really bad, honestly. And then he gets wrecked by Bo Nickel, which is kind of what he was brought in to do on super short notice. So now he's at a completely different weight class. What is it, 170 now? And, that's a big drop. Val Woodburn's short for 170, but he's got a long wingspan. He's a thick dude. It's just such a weird fight that we don't really have enough information on. So I think what I have to – I picked Elliott, but not because I like the pick, more just because I know that he's incredibly durable. But I could also see him getting held up against the cage and his face elbowed into oblivion, because that's what Val Woodburn does, at least from what I've seen in the regional fight the fights that I watched. Especially a guy as big and like stocky as Val Woodburn, if he just holds somebody up against the cage and starts slinging elbows, how do you get out of that, right? I mean, Elliott's got to stay off the cage. He's got to use volume. He's got to use distance and range, but he's got the shorter wingspan too. So that gives me pause there as well. It's tough. It's a tough one. I'm taking Elliott for the sake of making a pick, but pass on that one entirely.
All right, you guys heard it here first. Tyler has extreme conviction on Elliott. If he's wrong, let him know after the fights. Dravi, how about you, bro?
Yeah, I don't have a strong read on this fight either. It looked to be dog or pass. To your point, Elliott got that dog in him for sure, but he's very hittable, and he has been knocked out twice already in his career. So I also did bet against him on Contender Series, and he won that fight. But like, let's be honest, Brito got tired, and he got more dog than him. So yeah. You got that dog, like you said, but again, cannot really bet on a guy that is super hittable, that is gonna get cracked and been finished before at minus 300 because he got that dog in him. This is the type of guy you want to back at plus money, right? So at minus 300, I don't think we get much value. On the other hand, we got Val Woodburn, who I don't think is very good either. Then he's dropping down in weight, and I think that's the first time he's gonna do it. So like, and he just got knocked out, right? So how is he gonna perform at 170? I don't really know either. I don't rate him personally. I don't think he has good cardio, even if he has gone the distance a couple of times. And we know that Elliott has very good cardio, so I feel like if he survive early, he can potentially take over. So maybe Elliott round 2, round 3 can be interesting, but to be honest, I don't have a strong read on it. I'm gonna pick Elliott to win late, but not enough convincing to bet the fight personally.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, I'm also on Elliott in terms of a pick. Definitely not going to be laying minus 300 on him. I do think the skill gap is pretty significant, to be completely honest. I love Woodburn. He's cool and all, pulled up and fought Bo Nickel on short notice. He is the only man in the UFC so far to land a strike on Bo Nickel. So he's got that going for him. But, I don't know how to feel about him. And he's also coming down from 185 to 170. He's small in terms of height. In terms of height, he could be a featherweight. But the dude is built like a mini fridge. And I don't know if it's going to be an easy cut for him. And it could end up being that it's a terrible cut and he just gets knocked out real quick. But Elliott's not some power puncher. I just think he's more technical everywhere. I think he's the better striker. I think he's the better offensive wrestler. Who's stronger? Probably Woodburn. But we'll have to see. Cardio, I'm going to give to Elliott as well. Elliott's more tried and true. I used to love betting on him in Cage Warriors because he's just old, reliable. You know exactly what he's going to do every single time. He's got serviceable striking that he uses to set up the grappling, and that's how he wins fights. I was also on Brito in that fight on the Contender Series. Man, I had Wiz at my house. We both had money on Brito, and we're watching it. And I'm just seeing, like, in the second round when he had Oben hurt and he's just winging those strikes and just missing. I turned to Wiz. I was like, we're done. We're done. And we were done indeed. We ended up losing that one. But I do have an angle on the fight. You don't have to bet a money line. I really like the over here. I like the over 2.5. I think that both guys are pretty damn durable. I think both guys are pretty tough. I don't think Elliott's going to come out here and spark him like Bo Nickel did. I think we're going to see a ton of cage pushing, a ton of grappling, and that kind of lends itself into that over. So I got that at plus 155. I put a unit on it. I'm pretty happy with it. It's entirely possible that Woodburn gasses and Elliott finishes him in the second or third. If I was to attack this fight in a different way, that's how I would do it. But I kind of like this over. I think it's a solid spot, especially at plus money. So that's the way I took it. How about you?
It as well.
You too?
Yeah, I think I saw you tweet it, and then I said, "Oh shit, that's a good play."
Nice.
So tell you.
Yeah. I mean, I pretty much agree with you guys. It's hard to give like a definitive pick here. I mean, Val Woodburn, we've really only seen him knock out guys quick and then go to decision with these like really old guys in sloppy fights, and then the fight with Bo Nickel. So he was brought in to lose, and now he's getting this other fight with the guy, like you guys are saying, that barely squeaked by in the Contender Series, and probably if he wasn't from UK, probably wouldn't be in the UFC either. So it's like maybe they're just trying to see like which one is UFC level and then giving him another fight. But Val Woodburn, I mean, from what I saw, to me, like even his cage wrestling wasn't that great. Like he was getting reversed and held against the cage against this 42-year-old guy that I was watching him fight. And I feel like Oban's, like you said, probably more skilled everywhere. So it has to be the pick for me, but hittable, kind of a sketchy guy. So hard to bet him at like minus 300 odds.
Yep. Definitely agree with you there. And we can move on. Next up, we've got another banger, in my opinion. We got Josh Quinlan versus Danny Barlow. Quinlan, he's going to be 6'1" 31 years old. He's 6 feet tall with a 72-inch reach. Barlow, 7-0. He's undefeated, 3 years younger, 2 inches taller, and he's going to have an 8-inch reach advantage. Dravi, why don't you start us off for this one? You're muted, brother.
Thank you. Yo, so yeah, I think it's gonna be a good fight, bro. Like I'm excited for this one. I've seen a lot of love for Quinlan this week. I think you love him, coach. I'm gonna have to disagree here. Like we just saw him struggle against a guy in Tree Water, right, with a big reach that can control distance. Difference is like Barlow's is gonna have even a bigger reach, but he have way more power than Trey Waters. And we know that Quinlan is very hittable, but I think he struggle with range. Like I don't like the way he tried to cut distance. I don't think it's very good. He does have power to his credit. I think he's a black belt. So yeah, yeah, potentially has wrestling upside. People gonna bring up the fight of Barlow that he won a decision against D Puma. He got taken down. Was not a very good look in that fight. But yeah, he's training at Extreme Couture if I'm not mistaken, and he's young. I think he's improving for sure. The difference is I don't really see Quinlan wrestle too much. Like he didn't wrestle a lot on the original. I've watched every one of his fights, and he's more of a striker. You know, sometimes he wrestle, but he doesn't even have good takedown defense himself. So yeah, I don't think you can like trust him to wrestle here. Even if he does, I'm not sure he's going to be successful. So based on that, I think it's going to be more often than not a striking match. And I think Bardo's the better striker, and I think he has more power. Also, give him more finishing upside. I know that Quinlan's very tough, but if you look a little bit deeper, like he has a lot of finishes. But if you watch these fights, like some of them were competitive fight against bums, if you ask me, and then he win or he finished them. I mean, props to him. But then he was like on juice coming into the UFC, so he was like in close fights against lower level guys on the juice, and then he still go into the third round with them. I don't think it's a good look personally. And then he knocked out Jason Witt, which who doesn't at this point, you know, so doesn't tell me much. And then against Trey Water, like I said, he didn't look good in that fight. Like he struggled with the reach, he struggled to cut distance. Was not very successful with the wrestling either. He did try, to his credit, but again, I don't rate his wrestling, his grappling that much. And I think Barlow has the higher ceiling than him. I think he's a very slick striker, left hand to God. You know, I think that left hand is a laser. And yeah, Quinlan just too able for me to trust him. Even like the plus money look interesting, but yeah, you gave me a guy with the reach of Barlow, with the power of Barlow, and he's way more accurate than Quinlan. Also, Quinlan is not accurate with his shots. So yeah, I personally think he's a bit of a bum. I don't think he belongs in the UFC, and I'm quite high on the Barlow ceiling. So we're gonna find out. I'm not too sure about the knockout decision though. I think the knockout is very live, but I do respect Quinlan toughness. So yeah, I did bet Barlow, but I got minus 175. So I'm not like a fan of minus 225 now. I think it is minus 210. But yeah, I did like the value under minus 200 for him.
All right, yeah. So I've been excited to talk about this because I have a pretty strong opinion, and I'm on an island, and you know what? I like being on an island best. That's where I'm most comfortable. Some of my best picks have been on an island. My Stoltzfus pick, my who was it? Who's my really good one? Ludovic Klein against Baumondes. And then I've had plenty where I was on an island and I got cooked. So that's a possibility too. But look, you know, it's really easy to look at the Trey Waters fight and be like, oh, Barlow's also rangy. Barlow has an 80-inch reach. He's going to do the exact same thing. Show me one fight where he fought with that kind of range management. You can't, because there are none. I've watched all of them that are available. He doesn't fight with that kind of range management. Trey Waters is 6'6", if I'm not mistaken. And the way he managed range in that fight, he fought perfectly for 15 minutes, and he frustrated Quinlan, who needs to close the distance. Barlow doesn't fight like that. He does not maintain range like that. He can do it. He's got the reach for it, but that's not how he fights. He overextends when he's striking. When he's looking for that left, he overextends. And we saw it in the Forest fight in the Contender Series. He got knocked down and no one's talking about it. Maybe because the commentary said, oh, it was a slip. That shit was not a slip. I don't want to hear it. He got caught with a counter because he overextended. Quinlan can do the exact same thing. I think Quinlan is a solid fighter. I don't think he's great or amazing, but I think he's a solid fighter. I think that Barlow is very green still. And, you know, Dravi mentioned the DePuma fight, and I think it's an important fight to talk about. That wasn't that long ago. DePuma was 1-0. He's now 1-1, hasn't fought since. I don't think he's a high-level grappler, DePuma, if I'm not mistaken there. He took him down so easily in that first round. He easily took him down. Barlow gave up his back immediately trying to get back up, and he didn't get submitted because the guy sucks. But anybody else, a good jiu-jitsu guy, they're going to submit him in that position. After that, DePuma gassed, couldn't do anything. And what happened there? You know, you talk about, Dravi mentioned Quinlan not doing well against some bums, making it to the third round. Why the hell didn't Barlow finish DePuma? That went 3 rounds. DePuma was dead in the second. Couldn't get him out of there. So I get it. Barlow's a good striker. He's got that left hand. Quinlan does also overextend a little bit. He can be caught. But at the same time, I just think that Quinlan can close the range. I think he can get those counters. I think he can grapple. Yeah, he doesn't do it often. But what did he do in the Trey Waters fight? He shot 8 times. That shows you, at least it shows me, that he can change his game plan. He can go into a fight, understand when he's in trouble, and try to do what he's got to do to win. There, he couldn't take down Trey Waters. But I can speak from experience here. Wrestling guys like that, with a frame like that, I've never wrestled anyone who was 6'6", but I've wrestled guys who comparatively were around that size to me, and it sucks. It sucks because they can tripod with those limbs, and it's really hard to get them down. I don't think Barlow's going to have that kind of takedown defense. Quinlan is a black belt. He trains under Wanderlei Silva. He's at that camp. I do think he can get the jiu-jitsu going, and if I think he can win 2 ways, if I think he can counter Barlow or I think he can submit Barlow, why the hell wouldn't I bet him? I got him at plus 163. I wish I waited. Now it's plus 180 something. I should have thought about it. You know, people start parlaying closer to the actual fights. But I played the money line. I like it quite a bit. It's not, you know, I'm not going to say it's a lock or anything like that. He's an underdog for a reason. I understand it. But I do think he's being disrespected. And I think people are just making too many, like, I feel like most breakdowns are just focusing on the Trey Waters fight. So I just don't think it's a good comparison. I think it's a completely different matchup. And I really like the submission prop here as well. It was plus 875 when I got it. I actually saw plus 900 today, I think, on DraftKings. So I think the line's still there. You're getting a black belt against a guy who got his back taken against a 1-0 guy. What was it, like a year ago, a year and a half ago? I think Barlow's getting submitted, but that's my piece. How about you, Guru?
Yeah, I'm not going to be joining you on Couch Island on this one. I actually have a bet too on Barlow at minus 190. Personally, I mean, I actually bet on Trey Waters, so I've never been high on Quinlan. You know, and when he fought Trey Waters, Trey Waters was like a plus 450 or something. So that was like a really good line. So this one, it's obviously, he lost a lot of juice, but you're looking at the matchup, and I just feel like even if Barlow isn't controlling distance like a Trey Waters, I still think he's going to be significantly faster, man. I think he's going to be able to land first. And I just don't like Josh Quinlan striking. I think he's really stiff and rigid with his striking. His footwork, to me, isn't really good. And he gets frustrated, and then he wrestles. So to me, it's like it's obvious when he's going to wrestle in his fights, even when he fought Trey Waters, unless he comes out here with a completely different game plan where he's like setting up the wrestling first or something and kind of surprises Barlow. I think Barlow's going to know, after he's beaten him up, when he's going to kind of panic wrestle. So I'm leaning more towards Barlow, and I feel like even if Quinlan takes him down, I'm not necessarily sure he's going to submit him. I mean, I've seen him take down other guys, and he's let him back up and things like that. So I'm just not that high on Quinlan, and I've never really been that high on him. So I feel like Barlow has good upside, and I think he's a good prospect. So I'm picking him to get the job done here.
Fair enough. How about you, Tyler?
Look, guys, here's the deal. We've only got 16 likes on this live stream, and there's 30 some odd people watching. 2 of those likes are me, guys. We need to get this thing up. Come on, let's do it. It doesn't hurt anything. It's not like YouTube's going to say, oh, you like this live stream. The only thing we're ever going to show you is the Couch Warrior. I understand that could get annoying. I like Mike as much as the next guy. That would be pretty annoying.
That would be a great thing.
So, look, you got to see 138 MMA as well. It's like you can't just watch Mike the whole time. But no, for this fight, let's go ahead and talk about it. It's going to be quick, okay? I tried to fade Barlow against Forrest, thinking because this is a bad stylistic matchup. I saw the same things Mike saw on the regional scene against whatever that guy's name was that took his back. Barlow didn't mess around with this dude, and he put him out. So I think Barlow's getting the win. I think he's probably going to knock him out in the first, and that's what I got.
All I'll say is Forrest never got the chance to wrestle. We don't know what that would have looked like,
I mean, if he was smart, he probably would have shot right away. But yeah, I mean, I get it.
Yeah, but all right,
So you
we can
think
move on.
Quinlan is gonna go out there? You think like right away he's gonna be like Russell first game plan, or you think he's gonna like try to
smart.
strike?
I mean, I might slide in his DMs and be like, "Yo, please wrestle."
Okay, I tried that when Josh Parisian was fighting
Why
Jamal.
would you
Pogue.
actually do that?
I swear, no, I tried to tell Josh Parisian because I was going to bet him if he would respond to me because there's a Parisian had the perfect move to beat Jamal Pogues, but he didn't know it because Josh Parisian his fight IQ's not there. So I tried to tell him. I said, Josh, dude, you got this. When Jamal Pogues throws his jab, his right hand does this. It just like that, like habit. He throws the jab, the right hand goes like this. If Parisian, who has one move that's good on his feet, and that's that spinning back fist, that's like a weird one. If he throws that the second that jab comes out, or even after, like he can eat the jab and still throw it. He lands it and he knocks the dude out. But he did not see it until it was too late. He would have won that fight. So I didn't bet him, but I wanted to bet him, and he would have won that fight if he looked at that because I swear to you, it was open all day.
I'm gonna send him a clip of this and be like, "Yo, you found your next coach right here, bro. What you
Dude,
doing?"
I will coach him to a win. I promise you. I'm a much better coach than I am a fighter.
You got to.
And the guy I'm coaching right now can attest to that.
You were saying something, Guru?
No, I was just saying you have to get the rematch with Pogues first. You got to get him the rematch somehow.
Dude, if he gets that rematch, he's winning that because Pogues is not going to fix that jab. He's still doing it to this day. He did it in his last matchup. He throws the jab and the hand comes down just like that. That spinning back fist is the perfect counter, and Parisian had the move. Literally not many people at heavyweight have a spinning back fist that they can use adequately as well as like frequently enough to actually land. He has it. He was the guy to beat him, and he just wouldn't do it.
We're gonna see the next guy going out against Pogues, just spinning, throwing
as soon as the jab comes out, it's there. It's so there.
All right,
You got to get him versus Chris Barnett next.
There you go.
Nah, I want them to save Barnett for Usman. That has to happen. I'm sick to my stomach that fight's not happening, but I have hope that it'll happen. I have hope. Hey, he's done it before, bro. Andrew, he's done it before.
Yeah.
But all right, we can move on. Dravi seems to have left us. I assume it's because of his camera, but he'll probably.
Yeah, he had to wipe the jizz off it. Steve called it out.
I know his struggle. I know exactly what camera he's using. I can already tell.
Yeah, I understand it. Sometimes you just get jizz on the camera. It's whatever.
He's not my co-host anymore, guys. I'm gonna be replacing Tyler after this. Maybe with the astronaut back here, he might be a little bit easier. But all right, we can move on. Next up, we've got Mingyang Zhang versus Brenson Ribeiro. Zhang, he's going to be 16-6-0, 25 years old. He's 6'2" with the 75-inch reach. Ribeiro on the other side, 15-5-0. He's going to be 2 years older at 27, 1 inch taller, and he's going to have a 6-inch reach advantage. I'm going to start us off here. I have no confidence on any side on this fight, and I find it hard to have. Like, I don't know how anyone really can. From the Zhang side, we have like 3 available fights to work with, and one of them is the Tokos fight on the road to UFC, which was like almost 2 years ago at this point, 1 year and 8 months. Before that, he fought 3 years ago, 3 years ago, 3 years ago. He's relatively inactive. I don't really know why. I'm pretty sure he's at Extreme Couture right now. He is a really young dude, and he does seem to be improving fight to fight. Everybody loves to say this week, oh, he got knocked out by Oscar Mozarov, the fraud. He was 19 years old. That was in 2018. He was a 19-year-old kid. He still took down Mozarov twice in that fight. So, I'm not going to fault him too much. Is it a bad look? Of course. Yeah, but he was 19. At 19, I was doing the stupidest things. I was not pro fighting. So I give him credit, and I do think he's improving. He does seem like a pretty decent striker. He uses his pressure pretty well. He handled Tokos very well. He was like a plus 350 dog there, did what he had to do. He's got some grappling. But I just don't know. I still think he can be knocked out. I still think he's very hittable. I think he can be taken down. I think he's got holes in his game, but I don't know how much he's improved in the past year and a half or almost 2 years. And Ribeiro on the other side, I actually think he's much better than people say. I think more people are realizing that now after the Contender Series win. And I was pleasantly surprised with the tape because I thought he looked better than I remembered too. And because I'm going out there and I for some reason, I remembered him having terrible wrestling, terrible takedown defense, no ground game. And I don't really think that's true. I actually think that his takedowns are pretty solid. His takedown defense is pretty good. He uses the underhooks and the hand control pretty well. And he's a solid striker. He uses that range very well. He's got a bunch of weapons on the feet. Clearly has power. Look how he knocked out Bruno Lopez on the Contender Series. That was nasty. My problem with him is his fight IQ is abysmal. I don't remember exactly what fight it was, but he takes the guy down. He's in solid top position, and he goes for the fucking Brundage guillotine. He ends up on bottom, fights his way back on top. And I'm like, okay, attaboy. And then goes for the guillotine again. And that's when I was like, all right, no, I'm not betting on him. There's no way. Because if he comes out here and he's styling on Zhang and he's on top and he goes for a guillotine, I'm going to break my television and I can't afford another one. So not what I want to do. And he seems to wilt a little bit. It seems like if you get on top of him, you start punching his head in, he's going to tap out. So I'm going to pick Ribeiro just because I like what I see more on his tape than I do with Zhang. But again, we have very little tape on Zhang. He's only 25. He has been improving fight to fight, and it's been almost 2 years, so he might come in looking like a brand new guy and even better. So for me, this is a huge stay away. I don't really think there's value on either side at this line, but Ribeiro will be my pick. How about you, Guru?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this is a super volatile fight to me. I mean, you watch both these guys' recent fights, and they're just totally either like knocking a guy out super fast. So to me, it's like Zhang is so reckless. You even saw it on his road UFC fight. He was getting lit up with the left hook. It's just he was just eating it and walking through it. And I feel like he's the tougher guy, mentally harder fighter too. And I think he's more well-rounded. But Ribeiro just has that dynamism about him. He's long, he's fast. He has an ability to kind of find the chin. It seems like I was surprised that he beat Bruno Lopez like that because I'm a fan of Bruno Lopez. I think he's pretty good, and he just took him out. It was pretty nasty. So I thought he looked good in that fight. He was using his footwork to avoid the takedowns, made it more of a stand-up fight, and caught him and knocked him out. So I think it's probably going to be a striking fight. I know I've seen his opponent get some takedowns, but probably they're going to go in there and just swing. I think it's both their UFC debuts, and I think it's probably going to be a crazy fight. So the under 1.5 is like minus 375 or something nuts, but I can even see this fight ending like under half a round. So I don't know exactly the odds on that, but I know they have props for that. But yeah, man, I feel like someone's going to get knocked out early, and I'm going to go with Ribeiro as the pick.
Yeah, the over 1.5, by the way, is currently sitting at plus 240. And I'd be lying if I said I didn't consider it, but I don't know if I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that's
do it
crazy. But
Tyler, how about you, man?
So, yeah, as a guy that loves betting overs, even I passed on this one, and it's not because I don't think it hits. It's because I don't have any reason to think it hits other than it's the bright lights. Kind of like Harim said in the chat there. I don't know so much that I can place the bet on it just because the bright lights. So neither of them go over 1.5 ever. But typically, when you get two guys that are just known for finishing things early, you do end up getting over. We saw that last week with Poteria, and that's just kind of how it goes sometimes.
Igor Army, baby.
There you go. You get the overs in these type of fights sometimes. So I would be tempted by that line. As for picking a side, it's close. Zhang scares me because he hasn't fought in a while. He looked really good in his last fight. It's kind of one of those things where like I assume he's better, but we don't really know. Ribeiro, I wasn't super sold on him either. I was against him on the Contender Series, but he looked great. And the fight IQ problems, like you said, are a problem. So there's that. But one of my guys that frequently comments on my videos, we chat back and forth. You can go check the comments on my video if you want to get the full recap. But JD is very good at persuasion, and he's got me a little bit more confident in Ribeiro. So I'm going to take him. I don't feel great about it. I feel kind of dirty about it, but I get it. And he made some good points. Like I said, read them if you want to. You're going to have to check it out on the video. So that's how I'm going to get you there. But because JD's got me sold on it, I'm going to go Ribeiro.
I love you, Tyler.
Thank you, my brother.
Dude cracks me up. All right, Dravi, how about you, bro?
Yeah, I have the same opinion as you guys, so we're not going to spend too much time, but like I think the under 1.5 was a good parlay piece. I got minus 275. I just feel like if you look at their resume and the guys they've been fighting, especially Zhang, like he fought guys that are not good like whatsoever. So we have to give Ribeiro the better level competition. So yeah, he did get finished against guy that would like I don't know, every guy that he lost to are probably better than every people that Zhang beat. So that's that, and also rate Bruno Lopez that he beat on Contender. I thought he will get knocked out in that fight, you know. So I do rate that win highly, especially by finish like he did. And I just love the way he uses his reach and the left hook as a counter shot when people try to rush him. And we know that Zhang is very edible, especially when he tried to pressure people. So I feel like the knockout's gonna be there for Ribeiro. But then yeah, Zhang has potentially resting upside. He has potentially he has improved more. We don't really know, right? So until I see it on tapes, I can like act like he improved for sure. But like it's like a pick him now, so I don't think we get much value. They're gonna fight for every seconds of the under though. They're both kill or be kill, and they have like I've looked at this the other day. I think it's like 88% of their fights when over under 1.5, and we have like 40-ish fights. So that's a lot of fights that went under 1.5. So even when they lose, they get finished under. And yeah, we need to look at the guy that Zhang got finished by. So I need to bring this up because the guy that he got finished by Askar Mozarov, you know, the fraud that fake his record. So that's not a good look. And the way he got knocked out in that fight, just to point out my read, I was looking into Ribeiro. I'm like, oh yeah, he's slick with the counter left hook, and when people try to pressure, and that's exactly how he got knocked out. He tried to pressure and he got knocked out by a counter shot. So yeah, I think it's there. But like you said, Couch, like every time that you roll for a guillotine, I've seen this dude get put out cold with ground and pound, you know, on the ground. So I did watch a lot of tapes, way more than I should have for this fight. But I'm just very confident on the 1.5. It's not a hot take. It's juice, but it's juice for a reason. So yeah, if you can get under minus 300, I think it's a good parlay piece personally. So I'm gonna pick Ribeiro to get a knockout, but like either way can surprise me.
Yeah, my only thing with like parlaying the under at such chalk is like you're depending on two really low level guys to get the job done. I don't know if Ribeiro's super low level, but he's definitely not at the top. So
Yeah,
I only like hold up.
that's true. But like when you look at it, in every of their fight, they're always fighting for the under, like every minute of it. So I don't think they're gonna like the style. It's just gonna be a car crash, in my opinion. Like it can go over for sure. Like nothing's a luck, but yeah, I do think that this one is probably one of the more guarantees to end early.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Were you on the under last week in the Poteria fight, Ravi?
No, I was. Oh yeah, I was actually. Yeah, I actually did peak Topuria. I don't know if you guys remember, but I said that he will win, and I sprinkled his knockout prop, and I got burned. I didn't bet his money line. Stupid my mistake by me there. And yeah, I had the under for this fight as well, and that was like a late ad. You know, when I wanted to bet Devin Clark at the end of the week, stupid mistake. I'm like, what can I parlay him with? And then I parlay him with the under, and that was like a very bad late ad for me. But yeah, man, I thought Poterio looked good, dude, because like that he did drop down a weight class. And yeah, I'm just pissed. I pick him to win, and he's like what plus 200, and I don't bet the money line. Yeah, I'm gonna learn from that. So it's always important to learn even when you win, right? So yeah,
That's why the under scares me here, is because of that fight. Like that,
yeah, but
if that fight hadn't happened, maybe I'd be like, oh yeah, you could probably parlay it. But after that, and it's happened to me before, but that one's so fresh in the mind that like,
oh yeah, that's for sure. But to your point, I did mention this last week. People talk about Poteria chin. I said that I think he has a good chin. Like I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but the dude can get cracked and he's still there. So he just get tired a lot. So I was like, he's dropping down in weight on short notice. Look bad on the scales. He's gonna get tired if he doesn't finish, you know. But like you won a decision, so we never know, right? That's MMA.
I've been asking for a good Ukrainian fighter for so long because we have nobody. We got no one to represent us who's any good. We had what's his face in Bellator, who I thought was amazing, and then he lost to Jason Jackson, which is fine. Jason's good.
Jason Jackson's really good.
But now we have Igor. Now we're good. Now we're good.
2024 is going on a run, bro.
Dude, I said UFC 300. It's already there for Dana. I don't know why he's slacking. Dricus Duplessis, Igor Pateria, main event 300. That's it. It's done. No one
Easy.
listens to me though. But all right, we can move on. I highly doubt we're going to spend much time on this fight. We got Rinya Nakamura versus Carlos Vera. Nakamura 8-0 undefeated, 28 years old. He's 5'7" with a 68-inch reach. Vera on the other side, 11-3-0. He's going to be 8 years older at 36, 1 inch shorter, and he's going to have a 1 inch reach advantage. Guru, why don't you start us off for this one?
Yeah, like you said, this one's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, Carlos Vera, not UFC level to me. He has that kind of Taekwondo karate style, tries to bounce around and then land some kicks. And then to me, his wrestling is not there. He has that guillotine, but I would be really surprised if he submits Rinya off his back. And then Rinya's a beast. I mean, the guy's a huge favorite for a reason. I don't think necessarily he warrants being that big a favorite just because he hasn't beaten anybody. But, you know, I can't go with Carlos Vera here just with his takedown defense. I feel like his chin isn't good either. I think that Rinya can crack, even though his striking is not really that proven. You know, he could catch him and hurt him too. I think the overs are there though; they're viable. Like I saw Couch Warrior bet the overs and the decision props, and you know, I feel like we saw just with Fernie Garcia that he's not necessarily the greatest submission guy on top, and like I don't think he has elite ground and pound. So if Vera's tough and he wants to hang in there and doesn't just look for a way out, gives up a submission or something, I think it probably will go over. It's just, you know, if Nakamura has gotten better, he's super young, so maybe he will go in there and run through Vera, but I think Nakamura is, you know, probably going to dominate.
Makes sense. Yeah, real quick. Yeah, obviously Usyk is Ukrainian. I was talking about MMA, Andrew. Andrew likes to bust my ass. And Sean Krylov, he's from Ukraine, but he's part of like the side that's more Russia, and he doesn't really claim us. That's why you don't see him ever carrying a Ukrainian flag. But all right, we can move on. Next. Oh yeah, what am I doing? Tyler, go next.
We're not just gonna move on. We've got to figure it out.
We could for this fight. We honestly could, but I'll let you talk.
Yeah, I think Carlos Vera is going to win in the second round via head kick. No, I'm just kidding. Rinya's probably going to get it done. I don't know how. He could literally do it anyway. Rinya somehow, but I thought about betting his money line just to be funny. I saw John Newquist did. I don't know if John's in the chat tonight, but I saw he bet the money line just straight up, and I was like, balls, man, balls.
Well, my guy drops 10 units on every bet he makes, so
he's crazy. I love it. I love that guy. He's fantastic. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. Rinya's probably gonna win.
All right, Dravi.
Yeah, I did get the decision prop with you, Couch. So yeah, I did sprinkle that. It was like he opened plus 850, Nakamura decision. So I'm just gonna hope that Vera survive. And I mean, to me, for him to not get finished is probably a win. So yeah, I hope he does that. And to his credit, like his takedown defense is trash, but he kind of got that dog in him. You know, he's not gonna tap easily, and he fight the end. So. Yeah, I was watching tapes. I'm like, oh, he's maybe live to not get finished. You know, that's what I was looking at. And then on the feet, he's trying to survive. You know, he's using a lot of footwork, so maybe he can try to stay safe and not die, which is only what I'm gonna hold. But yeah, Nakamura should woes. But then if you bet the ITD at big chalk and he's not finishing, I feel like it can be a little bit tricky. We just seen it against Garcia, right? So yeah, I feel like the decision is live. But now it's what? It's plus 225 now, so the line got smashed. At this point with these odds, I feel like you bet the sub. I feel like his sub is live. Vera gave up his back, and yes, bad takedown defense. But yeah, I want him to survive, so me and Couch can cash. But I think you did edge the bet, right?
Yeah, so I arbed it, so I actually won't make a penny now if he wins by decision. But so Andrew's been talking about it now. This is the second time he brought it. I talk to Andrew in my Discord all the time, and he's one to talk. This dude arbs everything, and he comes at me for arbing when I get the opportunity. So this is what I did. I played the plus 850 on the decision, and I thought that was going to be the end of the discussion. I didn't think there's going to be like all this different line movement. And the bookies just don't know what to do here. They don't know at all. Like I was looking on Bet Online, the ITD for him opened at like minus 1,000 for Rinya.
That was crazy, right?
It was crazy. And now the lines are all different. Now they're only saying plus 200 on the decision. So I was able to get, I think it was a few days ago, I woke up in the morning and I see Bet Rivers opens up the sub at plus 375. So I'm like, okay, let me put a little bit on that. I think it's more likely than the knockout, even though I know a lot of people like the knockout here. And then they open up the fight doesn't go on DraftKings at minus 165. I started doing some math, and I'm not good at math, so it really took me a while. It took me like an hour to actually figure out what money I would make if I made these moves. And I ended up putting a 1.9 unit bet on the fight doesn't go at minus 165. I had 0.3 on the sub at plus 375, and I had the quarter unit on the decision. So what that comes out to, essentially, I had to pull it up because I don't even remember. If Nakamura wins by knockout or Vera somehow pulls off the ITD victory, I'm going to make 0.6 units. If Nakamura submits him, I'm going to make 2 units. And then if it goes to a decision, minus 0.7. So essentially no loss. Worst case is if Vera wins a decision, I think I'm okay. I think I'm all right. I doubt he wins a decision. So it should be a decent spot. I was able to get myself a free roll, and I'll take it.
So you're going now for the submission. That's your shit now.
Yep. Ideally a submission. I'll live with the KO. And if it goes to decision, it is what it is. I don't lose anything unless Vera wins.
Vera Pat is probably like a heel hook or something, like a weird shit like that. Don't you think so? He's trying with Ryan Hall, So
I mean, if he gets it, then I still cash. I make 0.6 whether Rinya gets a knockout or if Vera somehow gets him. So
yeah. I don't think it's going to happen, but wrestlers, they always have issues with leg locks, and he's like, that's where he's trains at, like that 50-50 gym. So it'd be hilarious if he fucking heel hooked Rinya or something. That would be crazy. But
if I cash on Vera, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it.
Vera by sub would be insane.
What'd you say?
If Vera gets the submission and wins, that'd be insane.
He's got to pull off his best Brundage impression. Just keep going for that damn guillotine.
Constant.
But all right, we can move on. Next up, we've got this is a shit show, if you ask me. We got Marcos Rogerio de Lima versus Justin Tafa. De Lima, 21-9-1, 38 years old. He's 6'1" with a 75-inch reach. Tafa, 7-3-0. He's 38 years younger, 1 inch shorter, and he's going to have a 1-inch reach disadvantage. Tyler, why don't you start us off?
Oh, I'm so glad I get to start this one, actually, because the closer we get to the fight, the more confident I am that this fight's going to decision. I bet the over originally. And I think it was on your show with Wheezy, I think it was, that he pointed out that if you're going to bet the over 1.5, you should bet that it goes to decision because neither guy has gotten a finish outside of the first round or something, or outside the first 1.5. And I said, oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm going to bet that. So I did. So I got the over, and then I got the fight goes to decision. I feel like, okay, heavyweights at a 1.5 round line and outside of the top 5 is almost an auto bet the over 1.5. There are a couple of guys that are exceptions to that, but outside of the top 5, if you're a heavyweight, a true heavyweight, probably betting the over 1.5 if it's at plus money or even just like -1 something. But if it's like, like -400 to go over 1.5, I'm not going to bother. But you know what I mean? That's the point. I assume we're getting a decision, and I feel like it's probably going to be Lima, but fight goes to decision, and Lima's decision is about the same. So you might as well just say fight goes to decision. So I'll take Lima. I think it goes over. I think we get a decision. Moving right along.
All right. I like it. A little plug for my show too. So good looks, Tyler. Dravi, how about you, bro?
I think De Lima's the side here. He has way too many advantages to just look past by. And I mean, I got burned. I had in a plus money against Lewis, and he closed -250, and he gets flying me in the first round. So we never know, right? I'm going back to the wheel here with De Lima. Like, he has massive wrestling, grappling upside. I mean, Tafa ground game is a big unknown. Like, nobody did try to test that, and I'm kind of confident that De Lima's going to test him here. I mean, De Lima's a black belt, and I have some suspicion that Tafa's a fish of his back, but we don't really know. So I think we might know in this fight, but also, like, he's never winning fight that went past the first round. Even if De Lima gets tired, at least I've seen him winning decision in the UFC. And like he can fight well for 10 minutes, but then in the third round it can be a little bit tricky. They both slow down. So to your point, I think that was a good bet than the betting the under, because the over 1.5 and the GTD, because like you said, I mean, if it goes over 1.5, it's probably gonna go the distance. So why not like take both? I think that's smart. And if he finish, it's probably gonna finish under 1.5. I mean, Tafa path to victory is a knockout early, and people kind of talking about Dilima being chinny these days. I kind of heard some takes about that. The dude has been KO like twice in his entire career, and one of them was a flying knee against Derek Lewis. And the last time he got KO before that, you have to scroll back. I don't even think that was in the UFC. That was like before the UFC. So unless I'm mistaken, but I think that was way back. And then his mistake that he gets sub, but I mean, Tafa is not going to submit him, So De Lima has submission upside. I think he has knockout upside. We have seen Tafa get knocked out once already, and De Lima is very dangerous early. It's not only Tafa that has KO1 upside. De Lima has also the leg kick's going to be there. And I mean, as the fight goes on, I just trust him more. And the wrestling upside, like I said, and then level of competition. I mean, Tafa. I mean, if I bet him to KO1 in KO1. I bet him KO1 against Lane. So I mean, that's kind of easy money. The guy got knocked out by Greg Hardy, and then he knocked out Parker Porter, Arion Sucker, and the decision loss to Vandera and Carlos Felipe. That's not a good look. Both not in the UFC anymore. And he got knocked out by the Castro, so he's not in the UFC either. So I just feel like, I mean, you have a guy that is 0-2 in the decision, and he's only winning by knockout, and then you have a guy that can win by decision, KO, submission, and the line is closed. I feel like there's some hype on Tafa in this spot, and maybe some recency bias, because De Lima just got KO, and I know that he broke a lot of tees and stuff like that, and he's older, but like, the line is minus 140, and you have all these advantages. I mean, to me, he's the clear side, so I had to take him. And like 38 years old at heavyweight, it's not like 38 at featherweight or bantamweight, So I think he's the clear side here. I'm gonna say he gets a sub, but I'm not too confident. Like, I can say a knockout, a sub, a decision. I mean, it's all possible. Tafa, I can only see a KO personally, or like a sloppy weird decision.
I'm people. I always want to bet blades. I'm definitely people. But so for me, I think that De Lima is the side, and if you forced me to bet something, it would be De Lima. And I really thought that I would like it. I don't have any real favorites at all in terms of money line. I have one slight favorite we'll talk about later, but I couldn't get there for a few reasons. I feel like I remembered him being better than he is, De Lima, in the grappling and all that. Yes, he's a good grappler, but I also try not to make too many assumptions when I'm making bets, especially if I'm going to back someone at chalk. Tower just runs away. And, Tafa, he's been only shot on 2 times in the UFC by Huntsucker and Carlos Felipe, who's a boxer. And he stuffed both, but we don't know. We don't know. Is it good? Is it bad? It could be really good takedown defense, or he could be abysmal. And the second he's on his back, he's done. I also kind of think if he gets put on his back, he is probably done. But again, assumptions. I don't really know, because I have no way to know. And then the other thing is, I really wanted De Lima to use the leg kicks here. If he's going to take this fight, I want him to use the leg kicks, take away the power from Tafa, do kind of what he did to Acosta. But then I started thinking about it, and he's got an orthodox stance, and if someone's a southpaw, the whole dynamic with the leg kicks is completely different, because it's not the same thing. When you're orthodox, it's open there, it's easy. But if it's southpaw orthodox, it's different. So then I pulled up the Blagoy Ivanov fight to see, how do you do the leg kicks against a southpaw? He threw 6 in the first round. He got 4 of them, and then he didn't go to it anymore. Maybe because of the cage pushing. Maybe he got tired. But what I saw was, when he did go for those leg kicks against Blagoy, he was wide open for the left counter, wide open. And if Blagoy had any sense of power to him, he could have knocked him out, in my opinion. So, and Tafa, he's a southpaw. He's got really big power. He's got that left counter. I mean, his left hand is one of his only weapons. It's a great weapon, but it's one of the only ones he has. And he's also got barrels for legs. So I don't even know how effective leg kicks are going to be. Vandera was able to use leg kicks there, but Vandera is also a much taller guy than De Lima, and he's a little bit harder to hit because he's taller, he's longer, he's further away. De Lima's about the same size. He's going to be right there. If he's throwing those leg kicks, especially naked, he's going to be open for a counter. So I think De Lima should win, but I couldn't get there personally, not at chalk. How about you, Guru?
Yeah, as far as the money line goes, I didn't get there either, but I also bet the over at plus 160, over 1.5. And man, I used to love, I would always bet the over one. They would always, like 2 years ago, they got sharper now the books, but they would always like line every heavyweight fight. They would make it minus 150, over 1.5 every time, dude. And now they're doing like over 2.5s and lines, like different lines. So this one I bet plus 160. And I just feel like the grappling upside, the wrestling upside is there for De Lima. I mean, we haven't, like you said, seen anything from Tafa to where we could definitively say that, but I feel like it's a good assumption. We've seen Junior Tafa get grinded out by Muhammad Usman, so to me that's a small indication there. But like you said, there is path to victory for Tafa, because you've seen even like back in the day when he was at 205, De Lima struggled with like OSP in that straight left. So like he's had some issues with southpaws in his career. So if Tafa can get him out of there in the first round, I feel like that's his chance to win. But even in the Blagoy fight, I don't think the striking was competitive in that fight. And I'm not saying that Blagoy is as good a striker as Tafa is, but I think Blagoy's grappling in the second and third rounds, or ability to kind of cage push, is something that Tafa won't have. And I think that De Lima's cardio is going to bring him through the fight, in that second, third. I feel like it'll probably go to decision and De Lima will win. I mean, we've seen De Lima on the ground with guys like Maurice Green for 3 rounds, and these other guys did not submit him. So I think it'll probably go over and to decision.
Yep. Sean, I'm not saying he's harder to hit in general. I'm saying in terms of the dynamic, because he's literally taller by a margin, his head is going to be further away. That's all I'm saying. But anyways, we can move on. Next up, we've got Amanda Lemos versus Mackenzie Dern. Lemos, she's going to be 13-3-1, 36. She's 5'4" with a 65-inch reach. Dern on the other side, 13-4-0. She's 6 years younger, same height, and she's going to be at a 2-inch reach disadvantage. Dravi, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, that's a good fight. Did they move this one to the main event, to the main card, or I saw this on Twitter today?
Maybe I saw that. I don't really know.
Yeah, whatever. I feel like it's gonna be a good fight either way. People kind of shitting on this fight a little bit, but like it's gonna be a banger. Like I think it's gonna go under. I'm gonna tell that. And at first, I think they opened Lemos at like what, minus 250, minus 280. And I was like, oh damn, she's gonna knock out Dern. She just got KO, and then need to be a little bit careful about recency bias, because yeah, she just got knocked out by Andrade. And then you look a little bit closer into that, and I'm watching tapes, and I'm seeing Lemos getting tired in some fights. Granted, she did fight well over 5 rounds, if I can say that, against Whaley, but she got beat up, But like her cardio did look a little bit better in that fight, even if she got beat up. But yeah, she's on the older side now. She's about to be 37, I think.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah, almost 37. And coming back after a loss like that, like her title inspiration is probably gone now. So how she's gonna bounce back after that, I don't really know. Dern, on the other hand, at least she's 30 years old, and yeah, she got knocked out for the first time, but then she's coming back. She's taking this fight on short notice. I don't really like that, but I don't think Lemos BJJ is good defensively. Like I still have the Andrade fight in my mind. I hate that. She just didn't know what to do in this position. That was a bad look. And she also, like, she's a very good striker. She has big power for the division, very dangerous early. But I've realized that she kind of struggled with pressure. Like, she needs distance to work, and she need, like the Marina Rodriguez fight, for example, they were striking at distance, and she did look good in that fight. But like that was a low pace fight. She had distance to work, and then that's where she do her best work, But in this fight, I'm kind of confident that even if Dern's not the better striker, she's gonna pressure her, And even if she's not the better wrestler, she's gonna cage push and she's gonna try to take her down. And at some point, I think she might be able to take her down, because I think her striking will look better, because Lemo's gonna be scared to get taken down. The floor is lava here. If Dern gets on top, I think might be the fight. And yeah, I mean, Dern's a weird fighter. I think her fights are in general are tough to bet because like she looks like a world beater in the ill fight, and then she got smoked against Andrade before after that. So yeah, I mean, her striking look good in the ill fight, like a lot of pressure, a lot of power. Like she dropped ill very bad. That was like a 50-44, 50-43, something like that. That was like a masterclass, and then she got beat up. So I feel like they're both coming back after a bad loss, but again, one of them it's almost 7 years younger. So I have to go with Dern here. I feel like the grappling upside is not the grappling upside, but the danger of the sub is kind of nasty. On the other hand, I mean, if Lemos get a knockdown, am I confident that she's gonna finish Dern? I mean, Andrade needed to drop her like 4 times to get a finish. She got that dog in her. We know that. So if she get a knockdown early, I'm not like super confident she's gonna finish. On the other hand, if Derns gets on top and playing with her arms and trying to sub her, I'm very not confident that Lemos can survive that. So I think the sub prop for Dern is probably the way to attack that. I got it at plus 350. I think that was stupid line. She could get a ground and pound, but I favor the sub. I feel like that's the way to play that one. The under is good. Like I said, I gave knockout upside to Lemos, but yeah, I think they're just gonna find a sub in this spot. So I'm gonna pick her to win by sub. But like I can't act like I'm too confident because like the striking for Lemos is there, the power, and we know how hittable Mackenzie is. Like the last fight was still a bad taste in my mouth. So that's gonna be a good fight though. But I'm picking Dern.
Yeah, I'm going to tend to agree with you here. I'm on Dern as well. The way I tackled this one, though, I was going to stay away. And then someone told me, they're like, yo, Dern decision only is plus 200. And I was like, no fucking way. And it was plus 200. I put a unit on that. I think Dern has the majority of the decision upside here. Can she get a finish too? Yeah, she can submit Lemos for sure. I think that's live. But I don't want to play her money line because I also could see Lemos knocking her out. She does have her chin wide in the air. She doesn't really know what to do when she's hurt. And she didn't seem to handle the power of Andrade that well. I think Andrade is a bit harder of a matchup. I think Andrade has better defensive grappling than Lemos does. I think Lemos is kind of a fish out of water on the ground. I know that Weili is the champion and she's amazing and all, but she's not a grappler first. That's not like her thing. That's not what got her to the big leagues. And she was just destroying Lemos on the ground, especially when she was on top. How many times did she take the woman's back? I mean, a million times. If Dern gets her back, it's probably clipped. If Dern gets her down, it's probably clipped. But if not, she's going to be winning minutes. She's going to be winning minutes on top. She's going to be winning minutes by throwing up submissions. Even if she's off her back, she's probably going to be throwing up submissions. And we've seen people win minutes that way as well. I think her striking's improved. Still don't love it, but I think it's come a long way. The power's definitely coming in. And I think her offensive wrestling has definitely improved as well. I know that's always been a big thing, that she's got this jiu-jitsu, but the grappling wasn't really up to par. But I do think that has improved. So I think the best way to tackle it, if you can get a good line still, is a Dern decision only. That way, if Lemos knocks her out, you get your money back. If Dern wins by sub, it sucks you don't cash, but you get your money back. And the only way you lose is if Lemos wins a decision. Can she, based off of damage? Sure. But I don't think she's a great minute winner. I think she lost to Angela Hill there because she's not a great minute winner. I know she got the decision, but I think most of us can agree she didn't deserve that decision. So, yeah, I like Dern decision only. That's what I'm thinking. How about you, Guru?
Yeah, I was like Dravi here. Like originally when I saw the fight, I was thinking, Lemos is the side to get the win. But when I looked more into it, I kind of flipped my opinion on this one because if you're going to be betting Lemos, in my opinion, I mean, you're relying on a one-shot knockout or like a couple knockdowns to finish the fight like Andrade did. And I just don't know if that's as likely. Andrade was eating some big shots. Like when I initially remember that Andrade fight, I thought that Dern had like no success, but Dern was landing, the right hand like multiple times. She landed some big shots. I feel like with Lemos, I don't think Lemos is going to be as willing to stay in the fire there when Mackenzie's throwing those straight right hands to the knee. She's going to be trying to pull counter. And if you can if Mackenzie, I don't know her, I don't really trust her coaches, like especially some of the shit they're screaming like in the middle of the rounds and stuff. But if she could somehow, like draw out Lemos's counter and then duck under, I think she could easily get the takedowns in this fight, or at least control against the fence and things like that. I think that striking Dern could be competitive on the feet because she's going to be throwing way more volume. She's going to be pushing the fight, whereas I think Lemos is going to be looking for these counterattacks when Dern gets out of position. And the leg kicks for Lemos could be a factor, but I feel like she's not going to want to throw a lot of kicks because of the takedown threat. So I see it being more of her waiting for like one shot to land, potentially win the fight. Dern's throwing more volume, being more active, even if it's sloppy on the feet. And then if she gets it to the ground, she has a great chance to finish the fight. And I think she could hit takedowns. So I think Dern, even at plus money now is a decent play on the money line even. And I think by submission as well.
All right. How about you, Tyler?
So I think the finish is being overvalued here, and I bet the over 2.5 in a women's strawweight fight at plus money. So that's weird. Mackenzie Dern has gone to more decisions than anything else in her career, even though she's looked at as this lights out on the mat submission artist. I understand she's very good in the grappling. She does have some submissions in her career, but Lemos is also the girl who just went 5 rounds with Zhang Weili and got outstruck by like 300 significant strikes or something like that. The girl's tough as nails. Dern's tough as nails. Sure, Andrade was able to get rid of her. But let's be honest. I think this is the fight where the over is the spot, for me at least, in a women's strawweight fight with plus money at the over 2.5. I had to take a shot at it. So I took that. And I think this is going to be a weird take because nobody is on Lemos by decision. But that's where I'm at. I think she's going to get a decision. And it's going to be one of those where maybe there's a lot of control for Dern if she gets the fight down for the last 2 minutes of a round or whatever, but she's also just looks like she's been beaten up pretty good. So I'm gonna say that we get a Lemos decision. Not the most confident in that specific outcome, but I do think we get the over 2.5, and I think it probably goes to decision.
All right. Well, I hope you're wrong, Tyler, because that would suck for me, but
Yeah, it would.
We can move on. Next up, we've got a great matchup, and it's the first one of the main card. We got Anthony, or actually, you got switched with Dern, I think, right? Pretty sure that's the one that Dern and Lemos took over for the main card.
That's bad, dude. Like, bad idea, man. This fight's a banger. Should be on the main card.
It should be. But anyways, we got Anthony Hernandez versus Roman Kopylov. Hernandez 11-2-0. He's 30 years old, 6 feet tall with a 75-inch reach. Kopylov 12-2-0. He's going to be 2 years older, same height, same reach. And I'll start us off here. So I'm going to go with Anthony Hernandez. I did parlay him with somebody who we're going to talk about soon, but I did parlay him at minus 155, not -2, whatever he is now. I do think the line is wide at this point, and if I was betting it now, I'd probably be on Kopylov money line. The way I see it is, Kopylov is, I think he's been underrated for a minute. People hated him after that Duraev fight, and I've just been cashing tickets on him nonstop since then. I bet him every single time, and he's cashed for me every single time. But at the end of the day, I still think that the grappling is a weakness. I know he's training in Dagestan, improving his wrestling. That will only get you so far, though. And yes, he did pretty well against Duraev with the takedown defense, but Duraev is a gas bag. An absolute gas bag. And Hernandez is the opposite. Hernandez doesn't tire. He won't stop. He's relentless with the pressure. He makes you worry about those takedowns, but he can strike too. He's got good hands. He's got good output on the feet as well. And I just think that, especially at minus 155, I felt like the value was definitely there. I think he is going to win the fight with his grappling, whether it's a late submission. I think probably a decision. But yeah, I'm going to go with Hernandez. How about you, Guru?
Yeah, I think this is a great fight. I mean, you look at both these guys, and they're two of the dark horses in the division right now. I mean, if Kopylov gets the win or Hernandez gets the win, I think they deserve, a top 10 opponent. So pretty high-level fight here, and they got that contrast of styles where you got Kopylov with that southpaw style, really pretty striking. And I think there's certain things, the body shots for Kopylov I think could potentially be a factor. I think knees could potentially be a factor. And then for Hernandez, like you said, he's just going to try to get in his face, maul him, take him down, and just use that pressure and wrestling to secure the win. And it's hard for me to be confident on Kopylov in this style, just because we've never seen him beat someone like this style. Like you said, even in the Duraev fight, he got controlled for a long portions of that fight, even though he defended the majority of the takedowns. So I think that Hernandez is probably going to do his thing here and implement the game plan that he usually likes to get the win. And it's always, now the line's not as good. I mean, I've cashed on a few of Hernandez round 3 props. Now it's like plus 400 or something.
Terrible line. Yeah. Terrible line now.
But that's usually how it works. It's like Kopilov, if he wins, it'll probably be round 1, or Hernandez round 3, or maybe decision. But I'm going with Hernandez here.
All right, Tyler.
Yeah, Hernandez. He's going to just put the volume out there on the feet and in the grappling. I think he's just got better output. Yes, he can get knocked out. I understand the risk. I like to side with the guys that have the more cardio and the more output. And I think that's what's going to win most fights in the UFC at the UFC level. Big knockout power is great, but it gets often overrated. So I'm going to go with Hernandez to get this one. I don't know how he gets it done. Maybe submission, maybe knockout, maybe he gets a decision. But I think he's got all the paths to victory, and I think he's got all the output, and I think that's what's going to get done for him.
Do you think he can get a spinning back fist?
No, I don't actually see that happening here. He's not Josh Parisian, all right? I'm just kidding. There are certain guys who have really good spinning back fists. There's one on this card that we're going to cover in a bit. Yeah, exactly. But it's an underutilized technique. In fact, I actually used to use it back in my fighting days, like a decade ago. I used to use the spinning back fist as a retreat maneuver. When somebody hits you, you kind of like, like, oh man, that really hurt. And you start like turtling up a little bit like this, getting your shoulder, protect your chin. And as they come in to go for the kill, you hit that spinning back fist and boom, you got yourself a knockout. So it's a good move. People don't use it enough, or they use it incorrectly.
Love it. All right. How about you, Dravi?
Yeah, I have a strong read on this one. I have a lot of money on Hernandez this week. Yeah, like you said, I think you got minus 155, Couch.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, that's a crazy line, bro. Good shit on that. And you're saying the line is a little bit wide now, but I have to disagree, bro, because like we can all agree that Kopilov path to victory is probably a knockout in the first 6 minutes or so. You guys agree with that?
Yeah,
I'd give him about 7.5, but yeah, pretty close.
Because like if the fight go past the first round, he's live for a knockout early, but then he's gonna get. I think that's gonna be bad after 6 minutes personally, but like that's his path to victory, right? A knockout early or under 1.5 round, let's say. But then he's plus 220, right? That's like 30% probability. So I don't agree with the line being. I think the line is not wide enough on Fluffy in this spot. Like you said, Tyler, he has multiple paths to victory. That's true, but the cardio upside, the grappling, the wrestling upside is a massive. And then, like you, Couch, I did back Kopilov in I think his last 2 or 3 fights, knockout prop, everything. So I'm high on him. I think he's very good. Yeah, I don't think everyone's on Fluffy. I saw a lot of bets on Kopilov on Twitter this week, and the line's moving the other way. So you know what that means. But yeah, I mean, I did bet Kopilov in every fight, but I just feel the matchup is terrible for him. And then the Duraev fight was a bad look because like the dude has good takedown defense to his credit, yes, but he's gonna need to defend the takedown against a guy that's gonna chain wrestle him. That's a little bit harder than defending takedown against Josh Fram, Soriano, and guys like that, who I don't rate actually, because like if you look a little bit closer to his resume, like he did look good recently, but then he knocked out Josh Fram. Okay, fine. Claudio Ribeiro. I don't think Ribeiro has a win in the UFC. Oh, yes, one against Holmes. Okay, my bad. And then Soriano, which is a decent win, but we're just seeing Soriano get knocked out by Stofus. And congrats for you, Couch, because I know you guys are the big dog here. And the Chirico. So I don't really rate his resume personally. And then also everybody's talking about the KO1 for Kopilov. Do you guys know how many KO1 he has in his career? If you had to guess.
Pink Floyd ruined it already. Only one.
He has only one, dude. So, I mean, we have seen Fluffy hurts to the body. I know that Kopilov has nasty liver kicks. He's dangerous. He has power. He's life for a knockout for sure. But then, I mean, Hernandez, when he gets on top, dude, like, it's going to be the fight probably. Like, he has a nasty ground and pound, but like the way you just pressure nonstop, he's going to break Kopilov because I don't think Kopilov cardio is terrible. But again, he needs space and he needs to fight at his pace. And all the opponents that I mentioned did fight at his pace. So he was looking good. But then I know Fluffy is not going to fight at this pace. I know that Fluffy is not going to fight at distance with him. He's going to pressure him and he's going to make him tired. And then when he gets on top, like we don't really know how much Kopilov improved off his back and on the ground, his grappling and stuff like that. He did improve his takedown defense, but then you look against who first, and then we don't know his ground game, his grappling, like if Hernandez gets his back, I mean, that's over. And then the ground and pound is live, so I don't like the sub. But yeah, I did bet Hernandez ITD, Hernandez round 2, Hernandez round 3, and also I have him in parlay. Like I normally don't do that, but this week I'm extremely confident on him. It's my biggest position on the card, and I just like the matchup too much for him. And yeah, he can get killed early. That's possible, but I just don't think it's likely, and I think it's less probable than 31%. So yeah, Fluffy's the side here, and round 2, round 3 is gonna make me happy at the end of the night.
Yeah, hope he pulls it off for you. I would be on round 3 and round 2, but they priced us out of that one. It's so ridiculous.
Oh, I mean, Couch, you have Bet365 now. Did you see the line?
No. What is
it? It's not that good anymore, but let me tell you. So I got a round 2 at plus 500, and I got a round 3 at plus 800.
Oh wow, that's better. Definitely better.
But yeah, round 3 at plus 700, I'll still play it because that's fluffy, you know. And round 2 plus 450, I think it's decent. But like when I see the plus 800, I was so happy to play it, bro. You have no idea. I did throw 1 unit on each round, and I never do that. Normally, I throw a 0.5 on each or 0.25, but I feel just so strong about this read, so I just had to pull the trigger and trust myself. So, yeah.
All right. Hopefully he pulls it off. You'll be set. Excuse me. But all right, we can move on. Next up, we've got Merab Dvalishvili versus Henry Cejudo. Merab, he's going to be 16-4-0, 33 years old. He's 5'6" with a 68-inch reach. Cejudo on the other side, 16-3-0. He's going to be 37, so he's 4 years older, 2 inches shorter, and he's got about the same reach. Guru, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, this is an interesting fight, man, because for me, like stylistically, I think it's a pretty good fight for Henry in the cage, but everything outside of the cage and just his age, had to pull out of a fight last year because of an injury and things like that. It's all it's hard for me to be super confident in Henry, but to me, if you go and watch Merab's fight, like with Cody Stamann, I think that's a, decent comparison. And in that fight, he struggled quite a bit. And that fight was really close. I think Cody Stamann easily could have won that fight. I mean, the first round, he wobbled him a couple times, and Merab was throwing a lot more volume. But in that fight, I mean, Stamann controlled the wrestling. He was able to get like 5 minutes of control time. He had like 3 minutes in the third round on top against Merab in that fight. So I feel like Henry, he just has to have a certain game plan. Like his last fight with Aljamain, he was at distance a lot, and he didn't have a good game plan to me. Even though I feel like he won the fight personally, I don't know what you guys think, but I think in this one, he has to pressure in this fight, and he can't let Merab have that space where he can move around, bounce in and out, throw those spins like 138 MMA was talking about that he likes to do. So it's like, I think if he could, close the distance on him, back him up, force bad takedowns on Merab, he can reverse and get on top, and he could take Merab down too, I think. So it's just what type of Henry we're going to see. But I'm going to go with Henry at plus money as the pick here.
All right. Tyler?
So again, the only thing I really like in this is the over. We're all about overs, guys. I love the over. I love the sweat that it gives you. You know what I mean? I love the feeling of anxiety that it gives you. It gives me a thrill. So I love betting the overs. This one's a juice to the gills, but I do like the over here in a parlay. I think it's good. I think we get a decision. That's what's going to happen in this fight. So I think it's a good parlay piece. But as far as picking a side, like gun to my head, if somebody said you have to pick a side, I'm going to take Merab, but not with any confidence whatsoever. And I know a lot of people are really confident in him. I think it's just the output. It's going to be similar to like Fluffy, where it's just the output. But Henry's pretty dang good. And then also one other thing that kind of counts against Henry is he did say in his media day that if he loses this fight, he's going to retire, which, it happens when people start throwing around, R words. So I got to go Merab, but little confidence. The over is a better parlay piece, and it should be safe.
All right. How about you, Javi?
Yeah, I don't have much confidence either. Like the pseudo being injured and him saying that he's going to retire, him getting older, stuff like that. To me, it's just a lot to beat a guy like Merab, who I do rate highly. Because like I did try to fade Merab against Peter Yan and against Jose Aldo because I said to myself, these dudes gonna defend the takedown. They're the better striker, and I don't think this dude has the best chin. They can crack him, And you show me again that he doesn't even need to land the takedowns. He can control you against the defense, and he's just gonna shoot 50 takedowns. Like his style over 5 rounds gonna be so tough to beat because Peter Yan, yeah, he did got beat up in that fight, and people said that he was injured. Maybe, who knows, right? But man, I mean, Merab in a 5 rounder, like the dude's a maniac, and I think his striking improved a lot in that fight, especially the leg kicks, dude. That was a good look. I don't think people talked enough about that, but the striking in that fight looked good, man. And yeah, the dude just a machine, right? So that's his nickname. But if we just look at the matchup and the tapes, I think Cejudo's live to beat him. Like I don't think Murad's gonna take him down, and I think Cejudo can potentially take him down. And I rate Cejudo on the feet a little bit more. I think he's slightly the better striker, and I think he's live for a knockout. On the other hand, I don't really see much finishing upside from Merab. I think his path is more than likely a decision. But then you add the age, you add Cejudo maybe injured. We don't really know, right? So I don't feel good to bet either side on this one. I think Cejudo's gonna beat him, but to be honest, I lost some confidence this week, and I normally don't. I just feel weird about this. I don't. I feel like it could really go either way. So that's why I kind of love the dog, but I don't really know how Henry's gonna show up. I kind of trust him to show up the proper way because he's a triple champion, so that's what he does. But again, I still think that he beat Aljo personally on rewatch. But that was a very close fight, and the dude was coming back after a big layoff, everything, and then bang, a championship fight. And like I said, I think that he won. And Aljo has a nasty body lock. We know that, right? So he's not as good of a wrestler than Merab, but I think that if he takes him down, it's maybe the round. So that's a little bit different. But he's strong and he's big, and Cejudo kind of struggled with the pressure in that fight. So, yeah, I don't know what he's talking about. So, yeah, I'm going to pick Cejudo. I think he win, but like I kind of think that it's hard to be confident because of everything around the matchup. But I think he's the better striker. I think he can defend the takedown. And I think he can potentially get takedowns. I don't think people talk about this week, but don't be surprised if Cejudo land like 2 takedowns and Merab can only get 1 or something. And yeah, I don't see Merab holding him down, even if he gets him down. So yeah, I'm gonna pick Cejudo, but yeah, I'm not confident personally. Maybe you guys have a better read than me, but I think it's a tough fight.
Yeah, for sure. For me, he's the second leg of my parlay. I parlayed him and Hernandez. Hernandez was minus 155. Merab was minus 185. It came out to plus 153. I slapped 2 units on it. For me, it really just comes down to the pace, the pressure, the output. I think the striking has improved leaps and bounds for Merab. Peter Yan is my guy. Used to be one of my favorite fighters. And I mean, the dude literally didn't win a second against Merab. He didn't win a second of that fight. Merab just beat the crap out of him. And everyone keeps talking about Cejudo's takedown defense and his scrambling, and it's amazing. His scrambling is fantastic. His takedown defense is fantastic. I just don't think Merab even needs it. I really don't. I think use the takedowns as a threat to make him think about more than one thing at once, and then just strike with the guy. Cejudo's a good striker too. Yeah, sure. But I don't think he can handle the pace of Merab. Not at this point in his career, not with 1 foot out the door. I think Merab is going to take this fight. I think he's going to win a decision. I think it's going to be relatively clean. And yeah, don't really have much more to say than that. I think it's the pace pressure that Merab uses that's going to get the job done once again for him.
If there's 2 things I love, it's a themed parlay and alliteration. You got yourself your pace parlay, and I love it.
Yes, sir. Yes, you do love your theme parlays. Who was it in the last pay-per-view, the show we had on your channel? There was one. I don't remember what it was. Wish I could remember. If I remember, I'll bring it up. But all right, we can move on. Next up, we've got Jeff Neal versus Ian Gary. Jeff Neal, he's 15-5-0. He's 33 years old, 5'11" with a 75-inch reach. Gary, 13-0, undefeated. He's going to be 7 years younger, 4 inches taller, and he's going to have a 1-inch reach disadvantage. Tyler, why don't you start us off?
All right, folks. So here's the deal. Before recording my videos, I actually flipped my pick, right? Okay. And here's why. So I'm not going to tell you who yet. We're going to get to it. So there's a sequence that I see happening. I see something happening in this fight, which is a head kick from Jeff Neal. I think Jeff Neal is going to land a head kick. Now, whether or not he gets the finish is the thing, because we've seen Jeff Neal land these head kicks. And a lot of times, I mean, if you get kicked in the head, you're going down. But, you know, Ian Gary seems to recover really quick. We've seen him get dropped before, bounces right back up and wins a fight. So I don't know how it's going to go on that. And originally I was on Ian Gary, and I do a confidence rating, right? And I was on Ian Gary at like a 4, which is not bad, right? It's not bad. And then I started thinking about it, and then I scribbled it out, and then I wrote Ian Gary at like a 2. And then I was thinking about it more, and I wrote Ian Gary as a 1. You can see in my notes, right? All those scribbles. Yeah, that's from me scribbling out my multiple things on Ian Gary. And eventually I got to just saying, you know what, maybe the head kick gets him, and I'm going to take Jeff Neal, and I'm just not going to bet it. But Jeff Neal's probably going to head kick him and knock him out. So there you go.
I love it. I love it. Dravi, how about you?
That's a good fight, dude. I'm excited for this one. Don't you guys think it's a little bit weird the way they've been treating each other this week? Like, it's cool to see that, but I didn't expect them to be so respectful in person. But like, I mean, that's a fight game, you know. But I was kind of surprised myself. But yeah, that's gonna be a good fight. I'm very high on Ian Gary. I've never bet against him. But I think this fight's gonna be hard for him. But at the same time, he can make it look easy. So it's very tricky because he's very good at fighting at range, and we know that Neil struggled with that. Like, even against guys like Neil Magny, like guys that can just fight him at distance. He's not good. Not that he's not good, but he kind of struggle at that, you know. But on the other hand, we know that Gary is getting hit in the pocket in the boxing department. That's where he got dropped. And we know that Neil, they call him the ends of steel, you know. So the dude has some nasty power. He's a southpaw. So to your point, Couch. I know Ian Gary switched hands, but I think he's more of orthodox fighter. Maybe I think so, right? And yeah, if we remember the leg kicks success that he had against Neil Magny, that was like crazy. Like, he destroyed his leg. So Neil's a southpaw, so maybe it's not going to be there, like you said about the Dilima fight. I just feel like Ian has more tools than him on the feet. He's better at distance. But my thing for me in this fight is I don't see either of these dudes having success with wrestling. Like, Ian Gary, but maybe could try. Like, he's at shoot a buck, so maybe he's going to try. But I do rate Neil takedown defense very highly. So I don't see Gary getting any wrestling upside, any grappling upside. And then I think Neil is very durable, so I don't see Gary finishing him. So I think it's the more likely outcome. It's probably Gary by decision. Then could I see like Neil winning based on damage, knockdowns? It's possible. And then I think Neil is very live for knockout. Like, the dude has nasty power. We know that Gary can get dropped. He has good recovery, to your point, but again, this fight against Son Cannot, the dude didn't know what to do when he dropped him. He tried to grapple. That was like, Neil's not gonna try to grapple him if he hurt him. We know that he's gonna go for the kill. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's gonna be a close fight probably. Gary probably win a decision, but I think Neil at like plus 200. The line's a little bit wide, but yeah, I think Ian Gary is legit. I'm not one of these guys that try to fade him every fight and bet against him. I've never did. So, but I think this can be the fight that he get put out. But man, I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, I think this is a great fight as well. I also, honestly, like, as a straight pick, I think I'm going to pick Neil too. I think Gary's probably cleaner all around. He's better at range, but you know, my memory told me he had this great range management, but he's pretty damn hittable. Like, he's getting hit a lot. Gabe Green was landing a ton on the guy. He's open to that left counter. I mean, it was clear as day. Anybody can see it. Sankanon got him clean with that. If Jeff Neal lands that, he's probably going to sleep. But the way I decided to tackle this instead was I did two things. First thing I did was I played the over 2.5. It was plus 100, I think. I put a unit on it. I think both guys are pretty durable. I do think that Neal can catch him, and that's going to lean itself into my second bet. But I don't think it's super likely. I think the most likely outcome here is probably we go to a decision. Who wins that? It's a toss-up for me. If you tell me we're going to a decision for sure, it's probably Gary. If you tell me we're not, it's probably Neal. But regardless, I played that over 2.5. I like that spot. And then I also played Jeff Neal this finish only at plus 120, which I like quite a bit as well, because I really don't think Gary finishes him. I think it's pretty unlikely, maybe with like a kick or something, but I just don't think so. I think if anyone gets a finish, it's Neal catching him. So this way, if it goes over, and Neil doesn't get his finish, I get my money back. Unless Gary knocks him out with like minutes left in the third round, then I'm fucked. But that'll cover me. And then if Neil doesn't get the finish, I cash the over. So yeah, that's the way I tackled this one. How about you, Guru?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with you guys. I see it as a dogger pass. I mean, we know it's going to be a distance fight, or whoever can get it where they want to be. Like if it's in the pocket in boxing range, Jeff Neal is going to have a great chance to land that left hand, get the knockout. If Gary can keep it at distance, where we've seen Jeff Neal have issues like against Wonderboy, he got kind of dominated in that fight. I know it was a while ago, and he had the whatever issue he was having, not mental, but health issue. So I don't know. I'm going to go with Gary, but I think it's a dogger pass because I think Jeff Neal can knock him out, and I think it'll be a competitive decision either way if Ian Gary wins.
Yeah, makes sense to me. All right, we can move on to our next fight. We've got Robert Whittaker versus Paulo Costa. Whittaker 24-7-0. He's 33 years old, 6 feet tall at the 73-inch reach. Costa 14-2-0. He's 1 year younger, 1 inch taller, and he's going to have a 1 inch reach disadvantage. Javi, why don't you start us off?
That's a good fight, and I feel like people are gonna be like Whittaker win a decision type of fight. Personally, I love violence. I think the way Costa fight, I know Rob Whittaker has a lot of decision win, but then if you look a little bit closer, I bet he's under against the Duplessis fight because yeah, that was Duplessis, but also like he's not finishing guys like Marvin Vittori, Israel Adesanya, Kevin Gastelum, Cannonier, you know, guys, Yoel Romero, you know, he's fighting with durable dudes, you know, and Costa is durable, but the way he pressure and the way he gets hit against a sniper and a technician like Whittaker, I think Whittaker can knock him out for sure. And then you add the layoff for Costa, you add the big step up in competition for him. So yeah, I think that's going to be a tough fight. But then on the other hand, if we look a little bit closer again, Whittaker chin is never been the best, we know, but recently, like coming back after a big knockout loss, is he gonna bounce back correctly? We don't really know. But even before that, like there were clear evidence. Even in the Cannonier fight, he got hurt bad in the third round. So I feel like his chin has never been like super good, but he managed distance super well. He's super technical, so he kind of can still win even if he's a little bit chinny. But then he's getting older. He's coming back after a knockout loss, and he also struggled against guys that are big, physical, pressure him, and power. And I feel like that's everything that Costa bring. I know that Costa's like he's not on the same level of a guy like Duplessis, but he's gonna pressure him. He's gonna be there. He hit hard. He's not a one-punch guy, but he doesn't need to be, in my opinion. And I just feel like they're gonna stand and bang. They're gonna have a good fight. Also, I also love violence because I don't see either guy having much success wrestling. Whittaker could potentially try to take him down, but I do rate Costa takedown defense. So yeah, I don't really see that. So if they strike for a long period of time, I see Whittaker being able to counter him and maybe get a KO. And I see Costa is going to be able to land on the chin at some point. So we don't really know how Rob's going to bounce back after that. But yeah, I don't understand why the overs chalk like that. But maybe Tyler is going to be on it. Who knows? We're going to find out soon. But I just feel like it's a little bit too much of wiki capping if you just look on the resume. But if you look a little bit closer, who did he fight and stuff like that? I mean, like Vittori, we know he's a brickhead. We know that he's not going to get finished. Maybe he's going to get finished soon because the last time was very close. But the dude's a brickhead. And yeah, so I like some violence. I'm going to pick... I'm actually going to pick Costa to upset Whittaker and get a knockout here. But I'm not, honestly, I'm not confident in the pick. Like I said, I think violence a better bet. But I think Costa knockout's also interesting. It's like, what, plus 400 or something? That's probably his bad. I saw some like plus 500 as well. So yeah, I think that's good. But I think Rob is very live for a knockout. I don't think like he's just a decision machine. Just that the people that he's been fighting are so durable. So I don't know if you guys agree with me, but that's going to be a good fight, that's for sure.
Yeah, so I'm on the opposite side in terms of the total. I'm on the over. I played Fight Goes at minus 125. I put a unit on it. I like it quite a bit. I think the whole Robert has a bad chin thing is overplayed. Izzy got him with a super clean counter. Dricus overwhelmed him with the pressure and that ridiculous. Dricus is just ridiculous, period. Like, just the way he fights is so different. He uses these flurries, these explosive flurries forwards. Costa's a plotty guy. He's going to be moving forward, trying to land those big shots. I think the body work that Costa does will be good for him here. He should definitely do that. He goes to the body a ton, and he does it well. But I think Whitaker moves really well. I think he's going to be able to maintain the range. Sure, the takedowns are going to be difficult to get because Costa does have good takedown defense. But if Whitaker's popping in and out, mixing it in with the striking, then going for the takedowns, I do think he can get them. I think he can mix that in. And I just don't see either guy finishing each other. Personally, I don't see it. I don't see Bobby knocking out Costa, and I don't see Costa knocking out Robert. It's possible. I think it's unlikely. So I just played the fight goes at -125. I like that spot. How about you, Guru?
Yeah, I don't have a great read on this fight personally. It's kind of a weird fight to me. I mean, you look at Paulo Costa. I mean, the guy is only he fought Luke Rockhold, which to me it's hard to really rate that fight. Like, how good is Luke Rockhold compared to other people? We don't really know at this point. He went on to get killed by Mike Perry too. So that fight to me is kind of like a throwaway fight. And then he had the fight at 205 with Vettori. And before that, he had that long layoff. So he hasn't fought that much. And he looks huge, though. The guy looks like in great shape right now. So to me, it's like he's an intimidating guy to fight. Like, or at least like when you're betting against him, like you look at it and you're like, okay, this guy might fuck up my parlay or something. But at the end of the day, it's like it's hard for me to pick Costa as a straight pick. It's like he hasn't really proven much to me recently. I do think his takedown defense is going to be on point just because of the guys that he said to get ready to fight. Like, he was going to fight Ikram, he was going to fight Hamzat. So if you'd think that his wrestling is going to be on point. I don't know, but you'd think so. But I just feel like you watch the fight with Costa and Vettori, like at range, Vettori had a pretty significant advantage. Like, he was landing the body kicks, he was landing the jabs, and then you watch Vettori against Whitaker, and Whitaker was just so much better than him, like levels better than him at distance. So I feel like Whitaker's just going to be able to keep him at range and get the win here. So I don't know if it'll be a knockout or a decision. I agree with Dravi, where I think Whitaker does have a lot more finishing upside than people give him credit for, just because I think he could get Costa tired in this fight potentially if he just puts a lot of damage on him. And then he's been fighting super durable guys. So Costa, I also don't know like his mentality going into this fight. Like, is he really like think he's going to go on a title run, or is it's a cash grab? Like, to me, it's hard for me to gauge Costa mentally. But yeah, I think Whitaker is going to get the win.
All right, Tyler, how about you?
Well, so here's the problem. I don't know what Costa we're going to get. It's been a long time since we've seen him against anybody other than Rockhold. And even that was actually a long time. In fact, it's been such a long time that the last time Costa fought, I was still writing maybe like 3 to 4 things about each fighter on the marker board when I do my breakdowns. So when I pulled up my old notes about Costa, I was like, well, these are useless. Threw them out, had to start over. Which was probably good. Usually I take them and I update them, go back, rewatch some fights, update the notes, but keep like a baseline. Now, had to get rid of it all because there was nothing there. So that's how long it's been since we saw anything from Costa. For Whitaker, on the other hand, I like the skills, but then you go back and you start looking at it. I had to get rid of some of my notes on him because it's just not there anymore. It's different, right? His style's changed. His skill set's changed. He fights differently than he used to. It's a weird fight to predict. Whitaker mentioned a little bit about retirement, and that scares me as well. He essentially, once you start throwing that around, it gets, get a little worrisome. I'll take Whitaker because I picked him originally, and I'm not, swayed enough to change it, but I'm leaning. I'm like this close to flipping the pick now because you start mentioning retirement. That's a bad sign, and like, well, Costa's nothing to scoff at, man. Like that. And it's a while ago, but you watched that fight with Yoel Romero. My goodness, man, that was a war. And could someone like Robert Whitaker hold up in a war like that with Costa? I don't know. So I'll take Whitaker, but yeah, just a pass for me entirely.
Whitaker did have that same war twice with Romero.
That's fair, but at this point, I'm saying
fair enough. Fair enough. Definitely makes sense. But all right, we can move on to our main event, the fight everybody is waiting for. We've got Alexander Volkanovski versus Ilya Topuria. The old man himself, 26, 3-0. He's 35 years old, 5'6" with a 71-inch reach. Topuria, 14-0, undefeated. He's going to be 8 years younger at 27, going to be 1 inch taller, and he's going to have a 2-inch reach disadvantage. So I'm starting us off here, and man, I love this fight so much. I hate picking against Topuria. He's my guy. I'm a huge fan. I've backed him every single time he's fought, except the Emmett fight, and I'll explain why in a second. I didn't bet against him. I just passed altogether on that fight. And I probably would have backed him here too if I had like an early line. But I mean, I got -110 on Volk on Bet365, which is to me is just bananas. I don't really understand what Topuria has done so far to prove that he should be pick him with Alexander Volkanovski, who I consider one of the best to ever do it. I think the guy is amazing, and it's insane to me. And I think we can probably all agree here. If he didn't have that Islam fight where he just got knocked out, and his last fight was the Yair Rodriguez win, we would not have this line. We wouldn't.
-350 at least.
I think more like -2, -175, but I think he would have been a more significant favorite than he is now. I think recency bias is really flaring up here. And I mean, like, just the levels of competition also. 5 fights ago, Volk fought Korean Zombie, right? 5 fights ago, Topuria fought Damon Jackson. And Topuria, he's looked great in all those fights. You know, the body shots are so clean. The combination with the body shots where he goes to the body and then comes back upstairs, extremely clean. His grappling, really good. Offensively, very solid. Defensively, I'd like to see more, honestly. He did get taken down by Mitchell in the end of the first round. Mitchell held him down until the round ended. It was 1 minute left. He held him the entire time. Could he have held him longer? I'm not sure. But to me, that showed, you could take the guy down. And now on top of that, I think Topuria is pretty hittable, to be completely honest with you. I think he's pretty hittable. Bryce Mitchell was hitting him way more than I remembered on the tape. I didn't remember that. I remember just a brutal onslaught of Topuria fucking him up. And now he got hit. Mitchell was landing. And Mitchell's not some stud striker by any means. And then, let's not forget the Jai Herbert also almost got knocked out there. I know everyone's pointing at Volk getting knocked out, and no one's even talking about Jai Herbert. And then this is the reason I didn't bet him against Emmett. He does this thing. It's similar to what Kamaru Usman does, and I've talked about this before. This is why I bet on Leon in the second fight with Usman. They both do this thing where they're striking, and then they'll kind of just like drop their head down like this. And it's so open. It leaves them so open for counters. We saw how that worked out for Usman. I know it happened with like a minute left in the fight, but it happened. And then what was it? I forget what I was going to say. Regardless, I think dropping his head like that, that's why I thought Emmett might be able to land something big, similar to what he did to Bryce Mitchell. And then Volk on the other side, the dude is just so damn good, man. He's so well-rounded. He's good at everything. And the fight IQ is just elite. And the game planning inside the octagon, outside of the octagon, the in-fight adjustments. And another thing I did want to mention with Topuria, saw that in the Mitchell fight especially, he gets so overexcited, where he just starts winging these big bombs and really overextending and putting himself out of position. How many times did he throw a big bomb against Mitchell, miss completely, and just like stepped forward like that? Volk is going to take advantage of those things. And Topuria seems very hype about this, very like, he's stealing the belt. He's saying he's already champ. It's already in his Instagram description or whatever, champion of in the UFC. I think he's going to come out here. He's going to be headhunting Volk. And if he's overextending like that, I mean, as someone with money on Volk, I'm going to be real happy. I think Volk can maintain range against him. I think Volk will have success against him on the feet as well. Can Topuria knock him out? Sure. But you think Volk isn't aware of that counter, of that combo that he uses? Of course he's aware. He's going to be ready for this. This isn't 8 days off the couch flying to Abu Dhabi after drinking for 8 days straight, like he said. Dude, I think the dude is going to come in here. I think he's going to put on a master class. I think both guys are going to look great, but I think it's going to be Volk who gets the victory. I think that offensive grappling is open to him as well. Can he be taken down? Sure, but I think it's less likely. I expect Volk to get takedowns more if that's what's happening, if there's a lot of grappling. But yeah, I'm going to pick Volk. I think it's probably by decision. I don't see him finishing Topuria. And I do think Topuria will be champ, just not yet. How about you, Guru?
Yeah, this is like a classic fight, right? It's the young lion versus the old lion, and I love this fight. I think a lot of the outside stuff is getting overblown, like the 35 years old and the whole like he was drinking before his last fight, had depression. I don't think that stuff is really gonna matter too much. I think Volkanovski is the type of guy, especially like when you talk shit to him, like he had that little beef with Ortega. Like I think he really turns up and he has a good performance. So I think if anything, it's gonna motivate him. And I'm hoping that you're wrong about Taporia headhunting. I'm hoping like ultimately what I think he's trying to do is get Volkanovski emotional, which I think he obviously has failed at miserably this week because Volk's just fucking around. He had the old man thing, and he doesn't really care. Like he's not really buying into it too much. But if Volkanovski wants to meet him in the pocket and box with them or be aggressive and come forward, Ilya is going to light him up if they have that type of fight. Like if they're in the pocket or if Alex is coming forward and he could pull back and counter, that's what Ilya wants to do all day. So I think that's kind of what he's trying to do, like goad him into being aggressive, and then Ilya will implement his game plan. But if Ilya does come in there and throw like crazy headshots and all that, then Volk probably will have a great chance to win. But if you look at it stylistically, I think it's a great fight because both guys have like definite paths to victory. With Volk, I think he has to really use his kicks early to set up his hands. Like he has to throw a lot of leg kicks, angle side to side, use a lot of lateral movement, and try to stay out of the pocket and try to avoid coming in with like those 1-2 strike combinations. Because sometimes Volk will come in like jab, right hand, or like 1-2 shots. And if he does that, I think Ilya will be able to pull back and counter him with longer combos, go to the body, and just have the power advantage in that scenario. So Volk has to, I think, use his leg kicks to set up the jab and then mix in the takedowns in the wrestling too. Try to get the takedowns, even if you're unsuccessful, hold him against the cage, try to use your strength. And I think he could potentially win that way, like a lot of angles, kicks, and mixing it up. But for Ilya, he's going to be trying to land shots up the middle. Like I think the opposite, like Ilya does that thing too where he'll duck his head, but so does Volk. Like you watch the Max Holloway fight, like that was the second fight with Max, that was the adjustment he made where he was throwing those shots up the middle, the uppercuts, the front kicks up the middle. And he was landing clean, like, because Volk, he's a short guy, right? So he has to kind of duck his head sometimes, like, to close the distance. And that's where Ilya is going to be looking to land those uppercuts or knees or strikes up the middle that I think he could potentially land. And then the other thing with Volk that I don't like that he does in this fight, where I don't know if he'll do it, like, but he likes to kind of like move with that backhand, like parry with his rear hand. And if he's doing that in this fight, he's going to get eaten up with body shots, man. You can't be like, you have to have your hand tight in this fight, his rear hand. Like, he can't be doing that parry shit with the rear hand in this fight. I think Ilya will really light his body up. But as far as like the offensive grappling, I feel like if Ilya gets on top, he has a chance to finish Volk or do really well. And I feel like Volk doesn't have that same finishing upside, but he could potentially just grind it out. But I'm going to go with Ilya, and I'm going to say he wins via knockout. So that's going to be my prediction. But I really could see the fight going either way.
All right. Tyler?
Well, so I'm not going to give you the detailed analysis here because I already broke it down for 15 entire minutes over on my channel. So if you want to watch that, it's over there. But nice. you know what's up. I think it's Volkanovski, and I think it's because this is a guy that he's one of the most well-rounded fighters in the entire UFC. I can't bet against Volkanovski. Even at plus money, I can't bet against Volkanovski. The only person I would bet against Volkanovski is Islam, and that's fair. And even there, I actually passed on that just in case, right? I think Volkanovski's getting this done. I think we're gonna say, oh yeah, that's the Volkanovski that we were used to, not the Volkanovski that showed up to the second Islam fight. This is my only max bet I've done in a while. I haven't put 5 units on anybody in quite some time. So I got 5 units on Volkanovski, and I think he gets it done.
All right. I love it. Dravi, how about you?
I'm gonna have to go against you. I think Topuria's the side here, and just gonna talk real quick about the Makhachev fight. The second one, I bet Makhachev, and I predict him to get a knockout. I didn't bet the knockout, but I predict that. Like if you watch the first fight, he was getting clipped in that fight. He got hurt like twice, I think, and then he got finished after that. And then you also need to consider the fact that he did had weight to compete at 155, and then he's coming back down to 145, so he's gonna need to cut weight again. But yeah, he's getting older, but then the weight cut is not easy for him, and he just got knocked out. So I think you need to consider that. But even if I erase completely the Makachev fight, right? It never happened. He never got knocked out, because I don't want to get influenced by the recency bias. I'll still pick Topuria. Like the only thing is I'll probably get a better line. I got plus 135, and I'm very happy with that. But like maybe I got plus 150, plus 160. But I think that Topuria is like the toughest matchup for him in the division. He's a killer, dude. Like the dude's super dangerous, and people trying to give him a shit because he didn't finish Josh Emmett. Look, he didn't finish him, but he beat the shit out of him, and I love that because he just showed me that he can do that over five rounds and look good doing so. So I absolutely love that. It's like without the 5 rounds fight over Emmett, I'm not betting him now. Like I can't, because like I've never seen him go 5 rounds, but he just showed me that he can. And I saw some comments about the wrestling and stuff like that. Like Volk is not gonna wrestle Topuria. I mean, if he try, I don't think he's gonna be successful. Topuria grappling is super legit. If anyone gets a sub here, it's probably him. If anyone get a knockout, I favor him. And a decision, I do favor Volkanovski, to be honest, but I think it can be close. Because like Volk has been fighting taller guys that I think his style work well against them. But if you look a little bit deeper, when he fought guys like Chad Mendes, like he got hurt again in that fight. And I mean, I think Topuria boxing is so good, dude. Like his power is nasty for the division, and he just has that killer instinct, you know. So Volkanovski has always been like wobbled a couple of times in some, even the Max Holloway fight. He got dropped a little bit, but then you recover and you still manage a way to win the fight. Then when you get older, when you're coming back after a knockout, you know that affect you. Just facts. So even if he's 100% here, I still pick Topuria. So and then if you add all the circumstances, I love Topuria even more. So I think the guy is the real deal. I think he's gonna be champion for a long time. And I just pick again Volk. I just said that he's gonna get knocked out against Makachev, and I hate that because I love Volkanovski. He's one of my favorite fighters. He's so fun to watch, and yeah, I just feel like it's a terrible matchup for him, especially after getting knocked down. And then you're going against one of the, I think, the most dangerous guys in your division. So respect to him. And also, it's kind of a quick turnaround. We need to figure that. So, man, I really think that Topuria is going to finish him. I'm confident in that. I'm not going to go too deep into the breakdown and stuff like that, but there's a lot for me to like on Topuria, and they give me plus money. So I'm going to take advantage of that. I know a lot of people on Volkanovski, and I understand because, like, he's a pick 'em. The dude's one of the best ever. Never lost at 145, you know? So, man, I mean, how wrong can you be at a pick 'em, you know? But I really think Topuria is the guy to defeat him, and he's going to be there for a long time.
Yeah, fair enough. And I think it's pretty fitting for a fight this close. We're 2-2 on the panel. Everybody's split. So
that's the only way it could be, right, for this type of fight.
It's got to be. I'm really looking forward. And you know what? There's a reason I only put 1.15 unit to win one on Volk, because if Ilya wins, I'm not going to be too sad. I really like the dude. I've been a huge fan of his for a minute, so not going to be too depressed if he wins. I'll be sad for Tyler with his max.
I'll be
bet.
devastated. I won't be eating for like 2 weeks. I'll be broke, like straight up done.
No lunch for Tyler for months.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner. I'm like gonna be eating scraps that I find in the parking lot. I'm gonna be like a New York City rat.
You have to sell one of your gyms. But all right, guys, that's almost exactly 2 hours, and we're gonna get right out of here. I'm gonna pass around the mic to everybody. They'll plug themselves, and then we're gonna hop out. First of all, though, huge thank you to the chat. Still over 30 of you guys hanging with us, and it's already almost 12 o'clock Eastern time. So appreciate all of you guys big time. Guru, thanks for coming on, man. Pleasure doing a show with you for the first time. Why don't you let the people know where to find you, what you got going on?
Yeah, man, you can find me at MMA Prediction Guru on YouTube. Check out my full card predictions. I put bets on there. Sometimes I'll put bets or other promotions. I know we're in that chat for regional scene stuff. So we get into it. We talk about that type of stuff, and I'll put bets on there occasionally. So if you go to MMA Prediction Bureau, you check it out. But yeah, man, thanks for having me on. This was fun. Maybe I'll have you on my channel and we could do this again, dude. So appreciate talking to you and everyone else in here too. You know, Dravi, 138 MMA. You know, this was fun, man. This was a good time, and hopefully we'll be on another video again together. But yeah, man, good luck on your guys' bets, and let's make some money on Saturday.
Hell yeah. Tyler, tell the people where to find you, brother.
Well, you can find me at 138 MMA. It's pretty much everywhere. The only place you can't is on Instagram, where there's a little underscore between the 138 and the MMA, because some like spam account took it. Like they never even made a post. But either way, other than that, 138 MMA, you guys got it. And for anybody that left the chat already, you're missing out. We got some breaking news, some big time news. Mike and I, the Couch Warrior and 138 MMA, are going to be breaking down the Bellator versus PFL Champions card on my channel, 138 MMA, if you didn't already catch that. So that's fantastic. Chat, you guys are great. I love you guys. I appreciate it. I've been in this gym for over 15 hours today, so I'm ready to get out of here, so I'll pass on.
Go home, Tyler. Go home. Dravi, thanks for coming on, brother. Tell the people what you got going on.
Hey, thanks for having me, bro. That was a fun show, especially for a good pay-per-view like that. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. You guys can follow me on Twitter. It's Dravy_. You can follow my Dop Club also, where I post every bets. And you can follow Be The Line Broadcast on YouTube, BTL Broadcast on Twitter. That's where I do my show with all the boys, and the link is right there. And yeah, man, it's gonna be a fun card, and I can't wait, dude. There's so many fights that you can get excited about, and I feel like this card's going a little bit undervalued, and we're gonna have a lot of finishes. So I can't wait, dude. But and you.
And new, he says. We'll see about that one. But all right, yeah. So you guys are already on my channel. You know where to find me. In terms of what I got going on this week, though, I went live on Tuesday with Uncle Wheezy to break down this card. If you, for some reason, want to hear my beautiful voice again, go check that out. My YouTube shorts are out, so if you don't have a large attention span and you prefer 1-minute breakdowns, I do those for every single fight on my YouTube shorts, so you can find that there. I've already posted those on yesterday. And I did interview Jose Johnson tonight, actually, right before the show. Short interview. I'm going to put it up probably tomorrow. Dude's hilarious. I didn't know that about him. He's actually really funny. He had me cracking up the whole time. So make sure to check that out. And also pull up to my Discord. It's 100% free. I don't charge a penny at all. I post my notes on there. I post my picks on there before I put them on Twitter. And we also talk all regional fights, all UFC fights. I have like 15 different channels for every regional. 1FC, KSW, Octagon with the C, all of those. We do them. We talk there, and it's free. So pull up and check that out. So yeah, thank you guys all once again. Thanks to all the guests. Thank you to my co-host Tyler, as always. I love doing the show with him. And yeah, peace out, guys, and good luck.